Welcome to Senpai, your new home for immersive manga, manhwa, anime-inspired novels, and fantasy audiobook stories. Here, every episode brings you into a world of overpowered heroes, revenge arcs, cultivation journeys, virtual reality games, monsters, magic, and emotional character moments. Whether you enjoy dark fantasy, action, reincarnation, system stories, or epic adventure novels, Senpai is here to turn every chapter into a cinematic listening experience. So relax, put on your headphones, and let the story begin. Subscribe to Senpai and join the journey.
On a desolate street, a zombie was wandering unconsciously. He grinned slightly, a trace of saliva hanging on his lips, a pair of reddish eyes showing blazing cold creepiness. Not too far in the distance, there was a small abandoned supermarket. The glass door spattered with brownish blood. Through the open glass doors one can vaguely see the crooked shelves, as well as scattered food. Behind the supermarket's door, there was also a middle-aged male zombie moving slowly. Judging by his clothing, he should be one of the supermarket's staff. This zombie slowly approached the supermarket. After passing the middle-aged male zombie, he suddenly pulled out a chop bone knife, and he turned and forcefully cut off his neck. Blood splattered. The headless zombie fell to the ground immediately. And this strange zombie immediately grabbed a bag from behind the counter and began to rapidly gather food. Exhausted, in a dark residence home, the sweating Ling Mo was looking at his hands of a bag full of food and a variety of household items with satisfaction. And in front of him, there sat the zombie from the small supermarket. But the way this zombie looked at Ling Mo was without any trace of malice, just emptiness. Looks like I improved a lot from a few days ago. Now I'm finally able to manipulate with flexibility. Ling Mo turned his gaze to this zombie, mouth revealing a hint of smile. 2 weeks ago, the emergence of a new virus turned the entire world into a slaughterhouse. Countless humans turned into zombies. To be more accurate, after the virus infection lead to loss of self-consciousness, and then turn them into crazy, killing monsters. The survivors could only hide inside cities' corners like mice. However, Ling Mo, who was once only a normal person, discovered his ability to control zombies after the arrival of the end of the world. He could feel a hint of connection between himself and the zombies. Empty-headed zombies are like thoughtless puppets, and he could inject his own thoughts into them, thereby manipulating zombies' actions. The start of experiments was very tough. Zombies often escaped from his manipulation midway, and even endangered him in life-threatening situations several times. With the increasing number of attempts, Ling Mo finally acquired some techniques. This helped him to control zombies consistently, manipulate them to walk around, and help him to collect necessities. But the distance could never be too far apart, which made Ling Mo somewhat annoyed. He felt like he is a zombie puppeteer, but the lines in his hands were not long enough, and he was also not skilled enough. However, to be able to survive on a much safer level, Ling Mo is very satisfied with his zombie controlling techniques. He called the zombie he controls as zombie puppet. In the process of controlling zombie puppets, Ling Mo glimpsed that when he was controlling them, a violent feeling was also affecting him. Whether the influence was bad or good, he does not know yet. During these days, Ling Mo had gotten a better understanding of zombies' habits. Unlike general zombies, these zombies are not the living dead, but living people affected by virus. Even though the bodies are still alive, but the mind has turned completely into a monster. They attack uninfected survivors, tear these people's flesh with strength much stronger than an average person. The virus has completely destroyed their senses, dominated their thoughts, and turned them into executioners driven by their killing instincts. In Ling Mo's view, these kind of zombies are much more terrifying than the ones he saw in games and movies because they retain their 5 senses. Whether it is sound or smell, it will all attract their attention. The sun is going down. We will call it a day. This residence home is not safe. It's a temporary place for Ling Mo to say when controlling the zombie puppets. After putting the food he gathered today into his backpack, Ling Mo shook his head, which was hurting a bit, and he commanded the zombies to stand up. Up close, with the zombie puppet standing right in front of him, Ling Mo still felt a sense of strangeness. Although unlike the ones in the movies that exudes a rotting stench, this zombie still have a strong smell of blood. Virus infection made his face pale, with glowing red eyes. Through the slightly open mouth, one can see stained pork on the teeth. No need to think much, it must be the leftovers from eating human. The zombie had good looks, about 17 or 18-year-old teenager, but now his looks made him look like an evil spirit. Go. Ling Mo pressed down strong feeling of nausea, controlled the zombie to walk down the stairs. Even though he has the zombie puppet to open the road, it does not mean he is safe. Ling Mo holds a sharp bone knife, carefully walked behind the zombie puppet. From here to his temporary home, they needed to cross a street. When they came here in the morning, Ling Mo found some firecrackers. First he made some noise on the opposite direction and attracted most of the zombies from this street over there. However, there were still some zombies wandering on the street. After they safely reached the intersection, Ling Mo saw trouble is here. 2 zombies blocked the intersection. Who knew where they came from? Their bodies are full of fresh splatter blood. One of them even carried half-human arm and was busy eating it. In this provincial city that have millions of people, Every day, there are survivors killed during their attempts to find food, so dead people are not rare. But the sight of that arm wreckage made Ling Mo felt sad for the loss of his own kind. It was only because of his abilities that gave him a better chance to survive, so he can't be careless or he can still easily become these monsters' meals. Ling Mo walked closer while carefully manipulated the zombie puppet. He raised the chop bone knife as he approached one of them. While the other zombie were attracted by the sound, Ling Mo held the knife, rushed behind him, and stabbed in his head. The two zombies died almost simultaneously. After pulling the knife out with force, Ling Mo kicked over the body in front of him. Ling Mo would not miss any opportunity if given the chance, even though it's proven useful to manipulate zombies, but he must have the fighting ability to protect himself as well. And Ling Mo faintly felt that when he beheaded zombies, some kind of violent cause in his body is affecting him. He even felt a moment of pleasure when he pulled the knife out. Virus is not going to be transmitted through spiritual contact, right? If it could be contagious that way, I would have been infected ages ago. If it's not because of the virus, then what exactly is this feeling? Ling Mo was very concerned about this slight change, but he had no clues yet. However, the ability to cleanly behead zombies and the fact that it's getting better is a good thing for Ling Mo. Before the end of the world, he was just an ordinary man. When he killed zombies for the first time, it was a scary exploration. Even after the killing, he felt terrified and could not think straight for a while. But in order to survive, it is necessary to enhance combat skill. And in Ling Mo's mind, he is always thinking about one person. To quickly master zombie controlling techniques, collect as many supplies as possible. And it's all because he wanted to cross this district and find her. When the last hint of light at the horizon disappeared, Ling Mo has returned to the residence. This was a seemingly insignificant small building. In addition to the solid iron door, one was also able to jump from the roof to the building next door, and there were enough open space at the front and back of the building. Plus, this place belonged to the suburbs. In terms of survivors and zombies, their numbers are much less than the ones in the city, which make this place much safer. Most importantly, this was originally the warehouse of a small furniture factory, filled with low-quality paints and wood flavor, which was able to fully cover Ling Mo's scent. Through virus infection, those monsters not only did not lose 5 senses, but was further enhanced, in which they have perfect night vision, incomparable hearing and smelling to those of ordinary people. Before going to sleep, Ling Mo fed the zombie puppet a piece of rancid meat, kept him outside the iron door, locked the iron door firmly, and then went to rest. Even during his sleep, Ling Mo did not cut his spiritual connection with the zombie. It may be tiring, but on one hand he could train himself, and on the other hand it's a way of staying alert for himself. To allow one to get enough rest, but also keep the connection with the zombie puppet, it was easier said than done. In fact, it is actually very difficult. Ling Mo also tried numerous times before grasping the right balance. Now, when sleeping, he has always been in a light sleep state, and he could even hear the subtle movement in the surroundings. But today, Ling Mo has yet been able to sleep. A figure kept appearing in his head from time to time. After his parents died, the one person he missed the most in this world is her, his crush, but also his childhood friend next door, Ye Lian. When a disaster broke out, he received the last phone call from her. "Big brother Lin, run." After those 4 short words, there came the burst of beep of the busy tone. In fact, Ling Mo knew clearly that Ye Lian is probably dead. During the outbreak of the disaster, she was walking toward his residence, looking to make him a decent meal and to help him improve his living condition. Because of this, there's always a knot in Ling Mo's mind, whether live or dead. He felt he should find Ye Lian. Tomorrow, I will go find her. After preparing for so long, Ling Mo felt that with the ability to control zombie puppet should allow him to cross the city district. He had already sketched out the place where she might appear in his mind, not too far away from here, but separated by 2 residential areas in the middle which were regarded as the most dangerous region. However, in order to cross as safely as possible, Ling Mo has done enough preparation, everything, and now he just had to wait until tomorrow. Early in the morning, Ling Mo opened his eyes, jumped down from a semi-soft bed. Once again, after finishing packing his backpack, Ling Mo took a deep breath, walked downstairs. The zombie puppet under his control had been well behaved by blocking the door. Clothes are wet due to the cold air. His look does not show a single trace of tiredness, though. Due to unknown reasons, that sudden outbreak of virus not only turned most living people into monsters, but also enhanced their bodies to be very powerful. However, Ling Mo also noted that because they need to maintain a high-intensity physical consumption, they just kept eating instinctively, and food sources are the uninfected survivors. Clenched the bone knife tightly, Ling Mo opened the iron gate, manipulated the zombie puppet, and walked towards the planned route. Once entered in a residential area, there was an increasing number of wandering zombies. Attracting them through sound would not work, since the environment is too complex, and it would easily endanger himself. The only way is to pick a route with fewer zombies, and go as quietly as possible. An average person would face enormous difficulty trying to move in this kind of environment. Luckily, Ling Mo had a zombie puppet. With cooperation of the puppet, Ling Mo continuously killed a dozen zombies and got through. He now arrived on a street that was once prosperous. This place is like the transition zone between suburbs and city. In Ling Mo's prediction, Ye Lian was at one of the corner when she made the phone call. Abandoned cars were everywhere. Shops were all open along the way, but they were all pitch black. Other than the bloodstains everywhere, the only things left were the zombies. Even though Ling Mo killed numerous zombies these days, but it was his first time to see such large number of zombies gathered in one place. Looking through, there are at least dozens in his vision, let alone those hidden in the dark. Ling Mo intended to observe at a higher place. Just as he was walking toward the residential building, there came a scream not far from here. Helpa! I did not expect that there are still survivors. Ling Mo quickly controlled the zombie puppet, and carefully moving toward the sound direction. Outside a residential building, there gathered about a dozen zombies. They are frantically hitting the security door. Behind the door are two frightened teenagers. On one hand, they were trying to hold the door tightly, and on the other hand, they were desperately screaming for help. Idiots! Ling Mo frowned, nervously looked around him. Screaming like this would only lead to more zombies. Originally, Ling Mo wanted to lend them a hand in the best of his ability, but now it seems hastily shot would only harm himself. Soon enough, some zombies were attracted. They continuously hit the security door, issued a bang-bang sound, and the connection walls began to come to loose. The two young men looked ashen, let go of much more piercing screams of fear. Down! With a bang, security doors finally got knocked down, and the two young men's screams quickly drowned in the waves of zombies. However, this was an opportunity for Ling Mo, taking advantage of how all zombies got attracted to over there, so he could cross this district. After successfully passing through this dense population of zombies area, Ling Mo did not have time to cheer before he realized that the intersection before him were blocked by one bus and a few cars. During disaster outbreak, there were enough vehicle accidents, not to mention this kind of bus full of passengers. Whether or not the passengers mutated or frightened by the situation, terrible things could happen. Looking at the situation, the bus collapsed with the death-defying fleeing cars and incurred a chain of collision, in which its entire shape were deformed. You just have no idea what happened to the passengers inside, perhaps trapped and died, or probably all turned into zombies. Ling Mo wanted to go around, but he suddenly thought of something after staring at the bus. Ye Lian seemed to have always taken the bus whenever she comes. As soon as the thought came out, Ling Mo seized the bus differently. He felt a sudden strong beating of his heart. Both looked forward to, but also with some fear. There are great possibilities that Ye Lian was on this bus. If she did not get out in time, she should still be on there. Although he felt well prepared, but Ling Mo still a little panicking when it's time to really face it. Should it be decomposed body or left with nothing? Or after letting out a long breath, Ling Mo controlled the zombie puppet and climbed on the deformed bus head. The feeling is wonderful when it comes to controlling the zombie puppet. It was like having his own shadow clone. Through the spiritual connection between the puppet, not only could he control the movements, but also receive feedback from the puppet's facial expressions. But in between Ling Mo and the zombie puppet, he could feel that there was still a layer or barrier which enabled him to fully control the puppet. From Ling Mo's perspective, the ultimate state of mastering the control of zombie puppets would be like fusing with the puppet. Although it feels weird, Ling Mo is still looking forward to that kind of state. Through the zombie puppet's vision, Ling Mo glimpsed the inside of the vehicle. Dark inside, there were many obscure figures, and all were at rest. After bypassing the front, you could see the front and rear doors cannot be opened because of impact extrusion. Quite a few windows were cracked, but not enough to allow one to climb out. Ling Mo controlled the puppet, broke one of the windows, and climbed in. The smell was very strong in the car. Although he felt it through the zombie puppet, Ling Mo couldn't help but frown. The scent of blood and rotting mixed together make people feel nauseated. As soon as the puppet jumped into the car, he stepped on a dead body. After glance down, Ling Mo is immediately startled. Even though the corpse became rotten, but on its swollen face, a pair of red eyes are clearly visible. It's obvious before he died, he became a zombie. No one escaped and no one entered. Did the zombies die to starvation? Ling Mo quickly controls the puppet to continue walk toward the end of the bus, but he soon realized that something was wrong. The compartment is full of large bloodstains and clothing fragments. Apparently someone started a slaughter after mutation. But the ones lie here are all mutated zombies, and Ling Mo noticed that the back of their heads were cut open. Who did it? Ling Mo felt a sudden horror, and while he was dumbfounded, a shadow suddenly jumped out from one of the seat, as nimble as a cheetah, jumped onto the back of his zombie puppet. The shadow moved silently and was extremely agile, although it had little power, but by the time when Ling Mo felt it, this shadow has already poked his hand to puppet's back head. Stunned, Ling Mo instinctively controlled the puppet to fall back, forcefully bringing the shadow on the ground. But at the same time, zombie puppet's brain has been scratched, blood instantly gushing out. Holy crap, this hand is like a knife. It was tough to groom this young zombie puppet. Ling Mo felt distressed, but also became extremely wary of the shadow. He used elbow to clutch the shadow's neck while controlling the puppet, and used the other hand clutch his wrist while leveraging to climb up. However, as soon as he rose, the shadow used his other hand to poke into puppet's soft abdomen. Although the zombie puppet feels no pain, but Ling Mo's face still became extremely complex. To be exact, at the moment when the shadow was preparing to strike, Ling Mo, who already prepared to fight back, instantly stopped when he saw the shadow's appearance. Ye Lian. Lying below, the shadow whose one hand poked into the belly of the puppet is the one whom he's trying to find, Ye Lian. Ling Mo has made many assumptions, but never expected to find Ye Lian in this situation. After mutation, Ye Lian's beautiful big eyes turned bloody red, but her looks are not twisted like normal zombies, but very normal, very cool. For a moment, Ling Mo hesitated, but when Ye Lian took out her hand full with puppet's gut, Ling Mo was suddenly awake. Ye Lian's small hands looked no different than before, but the nail hardness was unusual. The fingers were powerful enough to pierce the flesh. This clearly showcased her difference with normal zombies. And normal zombies would not attack a fellow zombie puppet. Think back to the car full of zombie corpses. Look at Ye Lian again. Ling Mo suddenly understood something. After normal people were eaten, driven by hunger, the remaining zombies became cannibals, and the last zombie survivor, Ye Lian, developed some bizarre mutation. While Ling Mo was dumbfounded, his zombie puppet's intestines had been pulled out, blood pouring out, splashing on her body. Stimulated by the smell of the fresh blood, her eyes seemed to get bloodier, and her strength seemed to increase as well. She grabbed the puppet's arm and flipped him to one side. As soon as the zombie puppet landed on the ground, Ye Lian rushed up and placed her hands directly on the puppet's neck. Her movement is much more flexible than the average zombies. Ling Mo could not even react and was countered by Ye Lian. With a feeling of suffocation, zombie puppet's natural instinct was activated, and Ling Mo felt waves of emptiness in his head. When this feeling emerges, it means that the puppet is about to get out of his control. And Ling Mo finally recovered from the shock after reuniting with Ye Lian. Ye Lian turned into this. To some extent, it is also my own responsibility. When trying his best to control his zombie puppet, Ling Mo suddenly had a bold idea. Since zombies are just humans infected by the virus, and, judging by Ye Lian's look, her virus probably mutated or something. In that case, there might be a way to cure her. Even if this hope was very slim. But as long as there's a chance, Ling Mo wanted to give it a try. As soon as the idea came up, Ling Mo immediately controlled the puppet to tightly stare into Ye Lian's eyes. With the concentration of Ling Mo's spirits in his eyes, Ye Lian's head soon turned into a ball of light. However, the color of this light bulb is different than the average zombies. Infected by virus, zombies lost their mind, acting purely on instincts. Therefore, the spiritual light that represents their inner mind are really fuzzy. But Ye Lian's spiritual light was obviously much brighter, and has faint traces of red. What is that all about? But the current situation does not allow Ling Mo to think more. He tried to focus his attention on the light of Ye Lian, and tries to go deeper. And indeed, it was different than normal zombies. Ling Mo felt resistance here where he did not felt in other zombies. Although weak, Ling Mo feel his heartbeat suddenly stopped a bit. Is it possible that Ye Lian regained some conscious? But judging by her look, seems not quiet. When Ling Mo finally managed to control Ye Lian, his body was already covered in cold sweats, and zombie puppet was completely choked to death during the process. But when Ling Mo was carefully controlling Ye Lian to stand up, he suddenly felt a longing. This desire comes from Ye Lian's spiritual world, and the target is the puppet's brain. During his prior experience with puppets, Ling Mo never felt any emotion from them, because besides their instincts, the zombie puppets had no other desire. But at this time he felt something from Ye Lian. This makes Ling Mo confused and surprised. If mutation can produce desire, then if it continues, maybe she can regain her emotions. Thinking of this, Ling Mo used Ye Lian to poke through the head of zombie puppet. Under the guidance of this desire, Ye Lian quickly pulled out a small piece of gel-like object from the head. It is like a part of the brain tissue after infection, a little red, like an elastic rubber when held in hand. After Ling Mo toss and turn the object for a while, endure nausea, he pushed it into Ye Lian's mouth. A heat wave immediately raised from the stomach, quickly circulated through the whole body, and Ye Lian's once weak body seemed to have received some physical supplement. Never thought this disgusting gel could have this effect. Perhaps Ye Lian's mutation is caused by eating this gel. Manipulating Ye Lian to jump out of the car and walked in his hiding place, Ling Mo finally see Ye Lian face to face. Watching Ye Lian's blood-stained body, pale cheek, and that pair of red, almost eerie eyes, Ling Mo was moved by a mixture of feelings. Even though Ye Lian now gives the impression of danger, as if there was a chilly atmosphere forming beside her body, but her familiar face still left Ling Mo a little dazed. He could not help but stretched out his hand, wiped Ye Lian's bloodstains from her face. Don't worry, Big Brother will for sure to find a way for you to recover. In a moment of trance, Ye Lian's eyes immediately flashed with a touch of cold light. At the same time, Ling Mo also felt pain in his head. Luckily, Ling Mo returned to his consciousness and controlled Ye Lian again. Just a little distracted, and Ye Lian almost got out of his control. That made Ling Mo felt frightened. Normal zombie puppet could not stand before Ye Lian, and Ling Mo himself was struggling too. Besides, he did not want to hurt Ye Lian, and was not willing to be killed by her. Since he found Ye Lian, he cannot die. He must find a way to let Ye Lian return to normal. It's not safe to stay here. Ling Mo quickly commanded Ye Lian to walk toward his home. In such a densely populated place, it is inevitable to run into zombies even after being extremely cautious. However, Unlike previous battles, with the help of Ye Lian, zombies all went down almost without resistance. In terms of speed or power, Ye Lian was far more powerful than average zombies. Before, Ling Mo was worried that Ye Lian would get hurt in battles and did not want her in action. But when zombies appeared, Ye Lian transmitted strong desire of hostility that even made Ling Mo feel a burst of heat. The violence he felt in previous battles with Ye Lian was magnified to 10 times stronger than the previous battles. The instant when Ye Lian rushed out, Ling Mo clearly felt that he is now half controlling Ye Lian. When she is battling, her instincts are maximized. At Ling Mo's level of controlling zombies, he could only maintain his connection with her, but not the way she battles. Never thought she is this strong. Ling Mo suddenly felt a sense of danger. If he does not upgrade his strength, perhaps it won't be long before that Ye Lian get out of his control. Not to mention how to help her recover. Maybe he will die by her hands. Even if narrowly escaped, it will be like a needle in a haystack to try to find her again in such a big city. Thinking of this, Ling Mo clenched his teeth, tightened his boning knife, and rushed beside Ye Lian. Now, around Ye Lian, there were at least 4 zombies, and she was tearing one of theirs head off. These zombies would not attack Ye Lian instinctively, but when Ling Mo appeared, the other 3 all threw themselves at him. First time dealing with these many zombies, Ling Mo felt very nervous. Somehow, when he held up the boning knife, the fury he felt from Ye Lian enabled a strong desire to fight. After letting out a growl, Ling Mo rushed to the middle of the 3 zombies at the same time. Zombies have great power, and they aren't stiff like they are portrayed in the movies, but since they are monsters that rely on instincts, their attack patterns are quite simple. When one of the zombies tried to grab Ling Mo with its hand, Ling Mo slammed sideways, while escaping the attack from the zombie. His boning knife also stabbed into the other zombie's stomach. Poof! Sounded the tip of the knife into the meat, but Ling Mo did not have time to look twice, and lifted his leg to kick the 3rd zombie. This zombie was kicked directly to Ye Lian, and before he could get up, Ye Lian emptied its head. At this time, the zombie dodged by Ling Mo was once again up against him, and Ling Mo, who just stabilized himself, was in real danger again. Having pulled out the knife completely out of the other zombie, this one was already right before him with his hand full of blood. If he was caught, the chance to break out is 0. Under the threat of death, Ling Mo did not panic. He grabbed the boning knife that was inside the other zombie's stomach and slashed toward the attacking one, and the zombie that was bearing the knife also got dragged forward with the knife. The 2 zombies crashed into each other. Ling Mo's boning knife had already broke free after cutting across one's stomach, and without hesitation, it was forced into the other zombie's head with a hard twist. This all happened like lighting. When Ling Mo woke up from the fury, there were only zombies' corpses left. Only now Ling Mo realized he had not only proved calmness, but also high synchronization between his mental processing and physical reactions. Though this may be caused by his mental and physical fitness improvement, but that feeling of rage must also made an impact. Most importantly, looking down at the corpses below his foot, holding the bloody boning knife, Ling Mo's body couldn't help but tremble slightly. This is not caused by fear but excitement. At this moment, Ye Lian has already swallowed the gels from the zombies, and her eyes became brighter and seemed more intelligent. If it weren't for the eerie redness, she looked no different from the average survivors. Somehow, when Ye Lian experienced changes, Ling Mo also felt a bit of change in the body, although very subtle. But Ling Mo did felt that his power got stronger than before. He also recovered some of the consumed strength, and most importantly, he now acquired a stronger connection with Ye Lian. Could it be that because he is connected with Ye Lian, that when she continues to mutate, it also affect himself? Besides this, Ling Mo could not find a better explanation. Prior to this, Ling Mo was unable to determine whether these changes were good or bad, but now after experiencing these variations, it made Ling Mo excited. No effect on consciousness, but he was able to grow stronger with Ye Lian. Ling Mo started to look forward with further mutation, but he knew very well in his heart, rushing the process won't be good. It would be very regrettable if it brought Ye Lian any danger. On the way home, Ling Mo found a clean dress and a pair of sandals in one of the clothing store. He planned to change Ye Lian's blood-stained cloth. It was endurable to see the zombie puppet's disgusting appearance, but Ye Lian is the cutest and cleanest. Even after turning into a zombie, I should not let her wear something dirty like that. But once back at home, watching the quiet Ye Lian sitting in front of him, Ling Mo did not know where to start. Whether it was to manipulate Ye Lian to undress herself, or do it himself, it would be hard to avoid seeing the body he had dreamed many times. Previously, because of insufficient qualifications, Ling Mo secretly loved Ye Lian very much, but never confessed and never even thought of how their relationship would change. After all, he is only a nerd that stays home all day, low income, and Ye Lian is the prettiest girl from X University with a lot of good suitors around. But now, in order to change her clothes, he had to see her body. Even though the current Ye Lian does not have any consciousness, Ling Mo felt very nervous that even his mouth dried up. At a glance at the basin by the foot, then at dirty Ye Lian, after long hesitation, Ling Mo finally reached out his hand slowly. With one buttons after one undone, Ye Lian's pale skin was slowly revealed in front of Ling Mo. Calm down. Calm down. It will be inhuman if I take advantage of her right now. Facing his sweetheart, It would be lying to say that he had no urges, but looking at Ye Lian's pair of emotionless eyes, Ling Mo felt a pinch in his heart. When could I make Ye Lian regain her consciousness? Around morning, a sudden trace of throbbing instantly woke up Ling Mo. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw Ye Lian sitting in the corner. Ye Lian, with a clean body and clean clothes, looked no different from the past. The only difference is that pair of eerie red eyes. The abnormal sensation Ling Mo felt before came from Ye Lian's instinctive desire. If Ye Lian could speak now, then her first sentence would be, I am hungry, and the food she needs is those special kinds of gels from the head of zombies. From Ye Lian's performance, that special gel could trigger a new kind of mutation of the virus in her body, and it's very effective. Since she has the desire, of course I have to satisfy it. When thinking about it, Ling Mo had mixed feelings. Average survivors tries to dodge zombies at all cost, and I need to take initiative to find them. Most importantly, a mutated zombie now follows me. After bringing some food with them, Ling Mo pulled out a brand new knife from the bag. That boning knife has been worn out. It would affect me in the battle and cannot be used anymore. He tried to feed a slice of ham to Ye Lian, but noticed that she took no interest in it at all. The food she only needs seemed to be that special gel. Come on, let's go find you some food. Pulled up Ye Lian, Ling Mo took her downstairs. The city is now completely dead, short on everything except for zombies. But the places where zombies gather together are still too dangerous for Ling Mo. He could only take Ye Lian to the ones that were singled out. During the cautiously scavenge process, Ling Mo couldn't help but thinking one problem. To those wandering zombies, their only food sources are those survivors who are risking their lives in search for food, and most survivors are usually extremely careful. Even if they don't collect much, they still have the ability to stay alive. So will these zombies be like Ye Lian, under the condition where they cannot find food? Would they start to kill each other? Maybe in some places, there are already mutated zombies existing like Ye Lian. For survivors, this is no doubt adding another layer of frost to the snow. After strengthening spiritual connection, Ling Mo was able to control Ye Lian much more easily than yesterday. And after a night of studying, he also mastered the technique of controlling Ye Lian. Different from average zombies, Ye Lian not only have instincts, but she also have a strong desire to attack, and she was able to communicate her needs to Ling Mo. Plus, she has powerful strength. Fully controlling her will only limit her abilities and lead her to resistance. Therefore, Ling Mo only maintained spiritual connection between him and her to make sure that he never becomes her target and did not restrict her freedom. Because of the existing spiritual connection between two sides, even though Ye Lian could move by herself, but she did not leave from Ling Mo's sight and even closely followed him. Fortunately, this is the suburb, population is not very dense, and Ling Mo soon found some wandering zombies at the intersection. As soon as she saw these zombies, Ye Lian could not wait to rush forward, displaying her nimble movements and brisk attack. After being shocked a little, Ling Mo also quickly carried his knife and rushed up. Just 1 minute later, these zombies were taken out, and Ye Lian's eyes became even more agile after devouring the gel. At the same time, Ling Mo also felt his spiritual power strengthened, physical power enhanced. Even though this change is not obvious, but for Ling Mo, it was a gratifying progress. When Ye Lian was fighting, he felt an evident increase of violence. After bringing Ye Lian hunting in the nearby for the morning, they killed at least a dozen zombies that finally satisfied her needs. But something surprised Ling Mo. After eating dozens of zombie brain gel, Ye Lian started to show signs of fatigue, and her mood has also become very unstable. If during this process, Ling Mo and Ye Lian didn't have such a tight spiritual connection, Ye Lian might have run off already. Seeing the situation not going well, Ling Mo quickly found a residential building and brought Ye Lian into one of the uninhabited house. At this point, Ye Lian has already become irritated with clenched fists, yet the body seemed to have lost strength, with the whole body completely limped down. Ling Mo carried her to the bed, felt her body burning high with a frightening fever. Is it because of eating too much at once that the virus has become unstable? Just when Ling Mo was worrying about Ye Lian, an instant sense of fury and violence swept through his mind. Everything before him seemed to be covered by a layer of blood. Obviously, when the virus mutated inside Ye Lian's body, it also affected him through spiritual connection. So painful. If I disconnect the spiritual connection now, I can be freed from this disgusting feeling, but Ye Lian, who will be out of control and might attack. Ling Mo can only bite down on his teeth and remain patient. His body felt more and more hot, head full of cold sweat, whole body felt like it's about to explode. Especially that wave of bulging feeling came from the head. It felt like something is about to crawl out. If it wasn't controlling zombie puppets these days enabled Ling Mo to have a strong will, he might have fainted by now. And Ye Lian is gasping for air rapidly. The pale cheeks were taken over by a layer of abnormal reddish. The eerie redness of the eyes become much brighter. In the eyes of Ling Mo, she finally closed her eyes, became silent, and fell on bed. Ling Mo was surprised at first, and then he quickly calmed down. For this particular virus, he would not have any knowledge, let alone a mutated virus. Although worried, there was not much he could do. At least through their spiritual connection, Ling Mo could feel Ye Lian's normal body vital sign. But because her body was simmering a kind of forceful power, she could not take it temporarily, so the body started a self-protection mechanism that let her fainted temporarily. While waiting for Ye Lian to wake up, Ling Mo was also enduring physical torment. Until a few hours later, Ling Mo finally felt a sense of heat circulating the whole body. Even though it calmed down, the remaining power seemingly saturated with each cell and refreshed his whole body. Ling Mo shook his fists, felt a surge of power. As for other changes, I guess he would have to see in battles. At this time, Ye Lian also slowly opened her eyes, but the moment they were open, Ling Mo was shocked. After this mutation, Ye Lian's eyes restored to normal appearance. To be exact, they turned from that eerie redness to translucent black. Not only more profound, but they made her whole appearance look icier. But that kind of dangerous atmosphere is now hidden. For people who did not know her strength would probably think her as a normal surviving girl instead of a mutated zombie. The virus mutation that happened on her body is more like a viral evolution. The evolution that relied on swallowing the same kind. After the shock, Ling Mo is overjoyed. Since her eyes were able to restore to normal appearance, this means that his guess might likely be a reality. With the evolution of the virus, maybe Ye Lian will gradually restore sanity. However, after her eyes turn normal, Ye Lian's virus evolutionary speed has evidently decreased. After 3 full days, hunting hundreds of zombies only made Ye Lian's power slightly stronger. The mental change mutation expected by Ling Mo did not appear at all. For the good news, Ling Mo experienced some changes himself. As his spiritual power became increasingly stronger under the premise of semi-controlling Ye Lian, then controlling other zombies at the same time, he actually succeeded after several failures. And the more he practices, the more skilled Ling Mo become at controlling zombie puppets. Not only that, his own fighting ability was also growing, even though he's not as nimble as Ye Lian, but under his rationality, he was able to make much more flexible movements than Ye Lian. Now he has confidence to protect himself in the case when Ye Lian is out of control. But this time, Ling Mo realized something dumbfounded. His food reserves ran out. Prior, by using zombie puppet entirely to battle and collect food necessities, Ling Mo did not have a high energy consumption himself. But as he himself involved in battles, energy consumption increased significantly, which caused him to eat more. This is originally the suburb during the disaster outbreak. The majority of the food storage had already been looted, and the remaining quantity is extremely limited. After being repeatedly searched by survivors, there are now very little food left. After continuously searching in the little supermarket for 2 hours, Ling Mo finally decided to take Ye Lian to the city center. Comparing to this area mixed with suburb and city center has far more supplies. But because of the large population, there should also be an appalling number of zombies. If Ye Lian was not here, Ling Mo had another choice, and that is to evacuate to the countryside or mountain areas. If that's the case, Ye Lian might starve to death. A city full of zombies would be the best place for Ye Lian and Ling Mo to evolve. However, to reach the city center, they still have to make full preparation. Suitable means of transportation, easy to carry food supplies and weapons. There are already food and means of transportation. Ling Mo already prepared a bicycle. But weapon arrangement is giving Ling Mo some headache. Common household knives were always soon notched or blunt, very difficult to use. A suitable knife is clearly necessary. Right, didn't Wang Rin's household make knives? Wang Rin is the girl who lived on the same building as Ling Mo. Pretty face, and a few occasional times when he saw her, he always wanted to take a few more look at her. But after the disaster outbreak, he never saw that little girl again. Now, thinking back, he felt bad. A weak girl like her, even if she did not mutate and somehow survived, she is probably having a tough life. Early in the morning, Ling Mo sorted out the luggage, brought Ye Lian to walk toward Wang Rin's homemade hand tool shop. Even though Ling Mo deliberately picked a safer road, along the way they still killed dozens of zombies and finally arrived at the completely deserted shop. Blood spattered on the glass windows, broken glass door, and pitch-black interior of the store made it all look terrifying. However, at the end of the world, this is the most common sight. In this case, naturally the plan is to make Ye Lian go in first, even though she will attack zombies, but zombies will not attack her first. But the store did not have any zombies. Ye Lian and Ling Mo did not meet any trouble and walked in. The store has a lot of knives, but most are used as collection with no sharp edges. However, Ling Mo had been entrusted by a friend and purchased once at this shop, and knew that the store have open-edged knives, TL. It means sharpen to kill, just did not put on the shelf. I remembered that the workshop should be in the back. Ling Mo went around and arrived at a security door behind the counter. After twisting the doorknob, he noticed something strange. Usually this kind of door will be pulled open, but when Ling Mo twisted the knob, he realized the door is locked. Did the store staff at that time escape into the workshop room? If so, then there might be people alive. Maybe Wang Rin is still alive in there. Thinking about it, Ling suddenly became excited. He quickly knocked on the door and shouted in a low voice, "Is anyone in there?" Bang! After a moment of silence, suddenly came a muffled cry. Sounded like something been knocked over. There are actually people in here. Ling Mo was surprised for a little, and then once again firmly knocked on the door, but there was only the bang-dang sound, and the door did not seem to open. Ling Mo's power alone would not be enough to kick the security door open, but with the help of Ye Lian, it wasn't a difficult task. With the sound of muffled bang, the door was forced to open a gap, but a hand immediately stretched from the inside when Ling Mo did not even completely open the door. Seeing the hand at first glance, Ling Mo's pupil could not help but shrink a bit. At first glance, it seems nothing unusual, but faint reddish nails, the crunch sound emitted when clasped the metal security door looks apparently exactly the same as Ye Lian. Is there another mutated zombie inside? Although he had already predicted, but seeing another mutated zombie beside Ye Lian made Ling Mo feel very surprised. And looking at the size of the hand, it should belong to a man. This probably meant that Wang Rin might be gone. The thought of the hand's master might have tear Wang Rin into pieces in the stomach. Ling Mo felt a surge of anger upwelling. He wielded the knife in his hands, Dang directly slashed down at that hand. As half of the palm hit the floor, blood splattered around, and the security door also completely broke down in the force of the slash. After the fall of the door, an extremely bloody scene appeared in Ling Mo's eyes. Inside the small-sized workshop, whether it is the wall or the floor, it was almost covered with bloodstains, fragments of clothing, and scattered human bones. There are also 2 complete corpses, all face down, exposing the empty hole of the back head. The only one alive is a young man knocked to the ground by the door. As soon as he landed, he jumped up in a lightning speed, turned into a shadow, and rushed directly toward Ling Mo. This is the first time where Ling Mo is facing an attack from a mutated zombie. Super fast speed, not allowing one to react. If it was the old Ling Mo, he would have been thrown under and killed. But with enhanced abilities, the current Ling Mo is exceptionally calm. Although the mutated zombie moved very fast, Ling Mo did not have a slow reaction speed either. Almost in an instant, Ling Mo moved when a mutated zombie moved. Backed for a half step, slightly twisted the body to the side, he held the boning knife and slashed forcibly in the direction of the mutated zombie. Poof! A big bottle of blood burst at the moment when the two alternated, and Ling Mo turned 90 degrees at the same time, cut through the zombie's abdomen firmly, then slashed downward forcibly. If it were normal zombies, they would have been directly slashed under Ling Mo's uninterrupted attack. But mutated zombies are really fast. After Ling Mo just turned around, he not only avoided the direct cut, but also unswervingly crashed into Ling Mo, reaching out for his chest. If caught by the powerful hands of a mutated zombie, it won't just be skin trauma. And in this angle, Ye Lian could not come over to help either. Court death, implying he is digging his own grave. In a situation of life and death, Ling Mo's inner surge of fury had been drawn out. He not only did not dodge, but turned wrist and cut down again. He also suddenly swarmed up his knee to directly hit the chin of the mutated zombie, forced his action to become stagnant for a moment. Even if there's only 0.1 seconds of opening, it will bring fatal consequences. It was in this instance when Ling Mo forced the sharp boning knife into the zombie's back neck. Gah! A quiet sound came. The mutated zombie's action suddenly came to a halt, while Ling Mo clenched his teeth to force the knife in a hard twist. Bah! Snapped. With this crispy sound, the sharp boning knife broke directly, and the part that stayed inside the body of mutated zombie completely ended his life. Holding the half-broken knife, Ling Mo now felt his whole power been drained out. He could not help but to breath in gasps. After watching the mutated zombie fell, Ye Lian immediately jumped over and dug the gel out from his head. Under Ye Lian's present speed, she could take out the gel without getting a single drop of bloodstain on her. And only after she let go of her hand, the big hole behind the mutated zombie's head began to slowly flow out of red and white mixtures. To Ling Mo's surprise, mutated zombies' gel is totally different than average zombies. Average zombies' brain gel are only slightly reddish, but this piece of gel is completely covered in red threads. At first glance, it looked like a magnificent rosy red block gem. After giving Ye Lian a command to wait, Ling Mo took the gel from her hand and examined it closely in front of his eyes. Before, Ling Mo had speculated that this gel should be a viral infection of the lesions, an existence similar to stones in vivo, but a little softer. Probably because of the presence of the lesions in the brain, people were infected, lost sanity, and became zombies. And swallowing lesions will allow the virus in Ye Lian's body to become purer and allow her to be more affected by the virus. This might be a way to attack fire with fire. Putting it under the nose to smell, a very light but pungent smell immediately jumped in, which made Ling Mo frown and almost shocked to faint. However, this thing that could not be endured by normal people are of supreme delicacy in Ye Lian's eyes. From gel's appearance, which contained much higher virus purity than the average zombie's gel. Taking account of the previous situation, Ling Mo decided to wait to find a suitable place to let Ye Lian swallow this gel. Otherwise, even though it's alright if she fainted on the spot, but Ling Mo will lose the ability to react. By that time, any ordinary zombies could kill him. After crossing the body of the mutated zombie, Ling Mo frowned and entered into the slaughterhouse-like workshop, and Ye Lian was kept outside to prevent zombies that might be attracted over by the blood. The floor looked like a layer of flesh. It felt very weird when stepped up, and a thick rancid smell is also choking the human brain. The thought that Wang Rin might be part of these flesh and bones made Ling Mo want to drag out the body of that mutated zombie and slay him again. There are many finished and half-finished craft swords, but these are not what Ling Mo wanted. He rummaged in it for a moment and finally found a box under a half-bloodstained sleeve. Opened the box, and in there lied several dagger and knife. These knives all exhibit complete coldness after pulling them out. Open-edge knives look very sharp, and the quality is quite good, much better than those bulky choppers, and they're also easy to carry. After carefully tried the handle, Ling Mo selected a short knife to hang to his waist and picked up a handy dagger. With these two things, he should be able to visit the main city district with much more convenience. Although Ye Lian is strong, but the deeper they head into the main city, the greater the number of zombies to encounter, it would not be feasible to rely on Ye Lian alone. And because of the desire to be with Ye Lian, Ling Mo always had a little subtle idea. He wants to be stronger than Ye Lian, rather than lingering on her. So when the day comes for Ye Lian to regain her senses, he can stand up straight like a man when facing her. After establishing spiritual contact with Ye Lian, this gives Ling Mo a reason to become stronger and advance together with her. But evolving together will not be enough. As a mutated zombie, Ye Lian has a much stronger physical strength, and Ling Mo's advantage lays in his ability in continuously learning and exploring fighting skills. During the days fighting with Ye Lian, Ling Mo did learn a lot from actual battles. This can be seen from his previous battle with the mutated zombie. But this is not enough. Ling Mo walked out of the workroom, watched Ye Lian's back with intricacy. It has confirmed there exist mutated zombies like Ye Lian, and looking from Ye Lian's amazing growth rate, they will soon encounter stronger beings than the mutated zombies. Especially in the dense urban zombie areas, there are probably a greater number of mutated zombies. Looks like I'm not growing fast enough. Let's go. Not able to find any other things in the store, Ling Mo left with Ye Lian. Although to Ye Lian, she is completely under spiritual instruction from Ling Mo, but in Ling Mo's eyes, she is still that pretty girl who likes to be spoiled, and he could not help but to talk to her. But Ling Mo did not know. After they left, in the two-story building across the shop, a pair of thin white hands suddenly opened the heavy curtains. A pair of clear eyes watched Ling Mo, and Ye Lian disappeared at the intersection through that thin gap between the curtains. Wang Rin, what's wrong? A man's voice came from the inside, asked in a puzzled tone. The girl whom called Wang Rin immediately put down the curtain. She turned around to see the dusky room. A fine chiseled face without expression looked even more sick under insufficient light said. That mutated zombie was killed. The knife was also taken away. The best one. The man who spoke walked out from the shadow, asked surprisingly. Impossible. How did they do it? Direct confrontation. Wang Rin's face looked a bit complicated. Considering that was originally a family relative, we planned to find the right method to kill him. I did not think that it was possible for someone to confront head-on with mutated zombies. I noticed them since the beginning, a powerless girl. The other one looked a bit familiar, but cannot remember who. Looked nothing special either. Amazing. Too bad that we even thought up a lot of ways to face that zombie, but they were still one step ahead. The man exposed extremely shocked expression, but it was more on the depressed side. Then suddenly out of dissatisfaction, Wang Rin gave a grunt. The key is that knife. I had personally designed it. Can't believe he took it. If it wasn't for that knife, I would not have specifically run back. Give it up since it's already been taken. After being surprised for a moment, the man said with some frustration. Wang Rin's eyes suddenly flashed with a trace of anger. No way. I spent over 6 months on it. Why does it have to be taken by him? We should go together and chase after them right now. Do not bother anymore. You are so timid. Fine, don't let me see him again, or else I won't forgive him. He dared taking my thing, robber. Yes, you are right. Man echoed with headache, then suddenly asked carefully, the knife is gone. What should we do now? We can only go to your cousin's house, right? To also check to see if some of their family members survived. I would love to see that they all died. Wang Rin's face flashed with a touch of disgust, muttered loudly with dissatisfaction. But after a moment of silence, she nodded reluctantly. Without options, that family also mastered grandfather's technique. Not bad in making knives. Let's go and take a look. If it wasn't for that knives are the only tools I know how to use, I would be too lazy to go. On the other hand, the man earlier grew more and more familiar. In this tiny place, we will always bump into them. It would not be rare to see them. Forget about it for now. Let's prepare early and then head over to your cousin's place. Compared to Wang Rin's unfriendliness, the man is exceptionally excited, and looking at man's response, Wang Rin just gave a grunt. I really hope that they're all dead, especially that one. He dared to take my knife. I wish for you early demise and get sent to afterlife. And Ling Mo, who was heading toward the temporary safe house, suddenly felt a sense of numbness from the scalp. A wave of chill abruptly traveled from feet up. He quickly turned around, and all he saw was a few zombies he just killed. What happened? Was it imagination? Ling Mo suspiciously looked around, finally reluctantly shook his head, then turned around, looked at Ye Lian, and hurried away. The temporary safe house chose by Ling Mo is a small family hotel. The rooms are clean, scent of blood is not too strong, and the location is good most importantly. He deliberately found bottles of disinfection and poured them before the door, so that almost no zombies would notice this place. However, this method could only work in places with small number of zombies. If it were in the dense city areas with full of zombies, they will be attracted instead. After eating something and carefully checked over windows and doors, Ling Mo finally sat in front of Ye Lian and took out that piece of gel. Don't know if it was exposed in the air far too long. Originally, that light, pungent smell became even denser. The moment he took it out, it stimulated Ye Lian's eyes to turn red. If Ling Mo and Ye Lian did not already have a strong spiritual connection, she probably would want to resist. But this smell is a torture for Ling Mo. He did not immediately stuff it into Ye Lian's mouth, is because he felt that the color of this gel is simply too bizarre. It looked like real blood clots and appeared to be very fresh. Never thought that virus can be preserved. At this time, Ye Lian now has a strong instinctive desire. Ling Mo no longer continued to stimulate her, but handed the gel to her mouth. Ye Lian's lip was cold. When she opened her mouth to swallow the gel, that warm tongue gently swept Ling Mo's finger, and it made his heart suddenly jump. Watching Ye Lian, whose eyes gradually calmed down, Ling Mo even had the urge to kiss her directly. But just when Ling Mo slowly lifted up her face, emotionless Ye Lian suddenly closed her eyes, her brow slightly wrinkled up even more. This startled Ling Mo. This is his first time seeing this kind of face expression on Ye Lian's face. Although Ye Lian firmly closed her eyes, but because her body exudes a dangerous atmosphere, it allowed Ling Mo to feel a decrease in temperature in his surroundings. At the same time, an alternating hot and cold feeling swept Ling Mo's body. He was covered in trembling, then felt a wave of painful sensation across every pore in the body. His head also felt like it's going to burst. Could not help but to let out a snort of pain. Ling Mo immediately curled down, and Ye Lian, who was let go, also fell down, paralyzed in bed. Indescribable pain conveyed through Ling Mo's each cell. He felt his body is being torn apart little by little and recombined together slowly. He was only affected by spiritual connection and able to make himself extremely painful, not to mention Ye Lian, who bear the pain directly. Ling Mo kneeled on the bed with bloodshot eyes. The body involuntarily trembled, but his eyes were fixated on Ye Lian. If Ye Lian could tolerate it, how could a big man like Ling Mo not take it? After a full half an hour, the pain finally eased down slowly, but Ling Mo felt it was 3 days and 3 nights. Fortunately, there came a sense of freshness, which greatly eased the pain caused by complications. He could feel the subtle changes he accumulated has received a throes of sublimation through the extreme pain, as if the whole person went through rebirth. With strength hidden inside his muscle, as well as unprecedented clear mind, it made Ling Mo very excited. Like mutated zombies, he also received some form of evolution, even though it's not showing from appearance, but Ling Mo felt it completely. Maybe it is his illusion. Ling Mo felt, because he was able to endure the pain with a clear mind, he received a much higher spiritual evolution in the body. Whether there was truly an enhancement to himself, Ling Mo could only find out in his battle. And Ye Lian stayed unawakened for the whole night. While in a coma, she always frowned slightly, from time to time shake a little. Ling Mo stood by her side, his heart filled with both pity and expectation. How much will Ye Lian grow after absorbing the gel from mutated zombie? Oh my, I actually fell asleep accidentally. The extreme fatigue on the body allowed Ling Mo to fall asleep after a night of guarding. But the special skills and instinct he developed during the disaster outbreak let Ling Mo woke up after a few minutes. This type of special sleeping skill is probably obtained by all survivors during the disaster outbreak. An almost instinctive sense of strong wariness. It is even maintained during his sleep, and a few minutes of deep sleep is enough to ease frayed nerves. But Ling Mo, as a controller of zombie puppets, due to his needs to maintain spiritual connection with a puppet, rarely falls into deep sleep state. This is the first time, after he nervously opened his eyes, he found something horrible happened. Ye Lian disappeared. Did Ye Lian went out of his control in that few minutes? But after calming down, Ling Mo would suddenly find things were not so. After evolution, Ling Mo acquired stronger spiritual abilities. From deliberately control to arbitrary control, the improvement was really significant. At that time, although Ye Lian was not before his eyes, but Ling Mo could clearly feel that he was still connected with her spiritually. Ever since controlled by him, in addition to battles and going out, Ye Lian almost never act on her own. Why suddenly, today? Thought about that. The puzzled Ling Mo quickly converted field of view to Ye Lian's angle. Fortunately, Ye Lian is still inside the hotel, but her action is a little strange. If it was during normal days, besides attacking and eating, Ye Lian would never make much self-awareness movements, but now she was wandering around in the hotel. And from time to time, she would stop at some places and quietly blank out for a while. What is going on? Ling Mo quickly ran out the door, and soon found Ye Lian in the hallway downstairs. Seeing Ye Lian at first sight, Ling Mo almost exclaimed aloud. The morning sun shone through the windows while Ye Lian, who was standing under the sunlight, turned and looked at him. Her face had a trace of vacant look. But it was that little bit of emotion expression that made Ling Mo, shaking all over, excited. Ye Lian! Ling Mo quickly rushed before Ye Lian, hands grabbed her shoulder, cried thrillingly. Did not expect so soon for her to regain her consciousness. No, something was not right. After shaking Ye Lian a few times, Ling Mo suddenly felt a bucket of cold water pouring on his head. TL. It's an idiom that means that he got his hopes up, but it was soon shattered. Within Ye Lian's eyes, he only saw occasional flash of lost and the usual emotional indifference. Perhaps the viral evolution let loose a little bit of Ye Lian's detained sanity, but it was still far from reaching the level of recovery. It was also possible that the viral evolution enabled the creation of new senses in the current blank-minded Ye Lian. Ye Lian, agitated, after shouting a few more times, Ling Mo finally accepted the fact that Ye Lian did not regain full recovery. But at least Ye Lian was showing a trace of emotional expression and started to act on her own. Whether this is a precursor to her recovery or a new viral evolution, this all means that it's still possible to achieve Ling Mo's expectation. But when Ling Mo led Ye Lian to go towards the direction of the main city, he found that Ye Lian not only showed changes in self-awareness, but more on amplification of instincts. When facing normal zombies, Ye Lian's attitude became like confronting inferior organisms, and her way of killing also became cleanlier, with her eyes looked like trampling on lowly insects. And her attack speed is a lot faster. If she was simply like cheetah before, then now she is entirely a humanoid cheetah. Although the viral evolution had made Ye Lian to appear closer to ordinary human, but her behavior is much closer to the real beasts, especially during weaker creatures hunting. Probably to Ye Lian, normal zombies are all just weak scums. Ling Mo could not help but think, how will Ye Lian act when facing humans? But under his control, preventing Ye Lian's random attack is still completely doable. He rode a bicycle with Ye Lian through the streets. If it wasn't for all the zombies around them, Ling Mo would have enjoyed more of the ride. But not for long. As soon as they stepped into the main city, Ling Mo found that trouble came to the door. To be precisely, he confronted head-on with two survivors surrounded by zombies. The two survivors, one man and one woman, don't look much older. It was not hard to tell from their backpacks that they came out to scavenge for food. And the place they were fighting at was outside the gate of a supermarket. Using the door of the supermarket as cover, those two barely withstood zombies' ferocious attack, but the appearance of more zombies began to incur frequent crisis for them. These zombies all attack rapidly with strong power. The door of the supermarket were soon smashed into pieces. These two had to reseed inside, using shelves and counters and other obstacles to slow down the zombies. And Ling Mo looked at them afar, originally wanted to detour to leave, but was attracted by that girl. That girl is holding a long knife, always smiling. And with each occurrence of a crisis, her sudden swift slashes are always able to kill all the zombies that rush forward. Her speed at moments is even on par with Ye Lian, if not seen with his own eyes. Ling Mo would not even believe that such extraordinary skilled little girl exists among the ordinary people. The key is her smile. Usually, girls in these kinds of situations would be scared to death, or they would at least be ashen and trembling. But from her expression, she seemed to enjoy this very course of fighting, even in the case of obvious disadvantage. No matter how strong she is, facing with more and more zombies, her strength would sooner or later be depleted. Even Ling Mo can see that her instant acceleration kind of attack not only posed great challenge to the physical body, but also challenge for the mind's concentration. But even in this situation, she still remained calm. Ling Mo even incurred a hint of doubt at this moment. Does this girl also have some kind of special abilities like myself? As soon as the idea came out, Ling Mo suddenly had a great curiosity toward this girl, but looked at Ye Lian sitting in the back seat. He decided that it's better to mind his own business. It would be no problem if the person is an ordinary survivor. If she really have special ability, she might be able to see through Ye Lian's true identity. Then they will be in trouble. Just when he intended to ride to bypass. But a cry came from the supermarket's direction. Bro, please help out. Hearing the sound of shouting instantly made Ling Mo's head felt a burst of pain. Besides, the sound of bro made Ling Mo annoyed. Not to mention the sound of shouting alone is enough to bring greater trouble. Zombies' hearing are much more sensitive than average person. After the boy shouted, several zombies immediately came out from nearby alley or stores. And as soon as they appeared, they instantly noticed Ling Mo and rushed directly towards them. What a troll AH. Ling Mo cursed loudly in his heart, pulled out knife from the waist, and jumped off the bike. Because he was suspicious of the girl's identity, Ling Mo had to let Ye Lian stay behind him, not letting her attack in order to prevent revealing her true identity. But dealing with nearly 10 zombies by himself is really his first time. Just relying on his own attack ability is probably far from sufficient to cope with that many zombies. Fortunately, Ling Mo still had the ability to control puppets, and right now is the perfect time to verify the result. When raising the knife towards the first zombie that rushed forward, Ling Mo's eyes had already turned to the second zombie. In the instant of making eye contact, his tyrannical spiritual power had immediately controlled this zombie by force. While he killed the first zombie, at the same time the second zombie, who was controlled to jump on Ling Mo's sword. That was only the beginning. Seeing several zombies rushed forward towards myself, Ling Mo kicked the corpse off his sword as he was shocked, but the mind was never this clear before. He had already tried controlling 2 zombies at once. What about 3 zombies at one time? Controlling 3 zombies at once is a new challenge for Ling Mo, but at that critical moment, he had no time to think. He only allowed this idea to float into his head for one moment and then immediately put to practice. One swift movement of cutting the zombie at the front, at the same time controlling the two zombies that followed up. When their movements showed short-term stagnation, Ling Mo's knife at the same time have also promptly cut through their throats. This type of control only affected zombies' actions in a very short time. Even Ling Mo did not expect its extreme effectiveness when applying it into combat. Under the law he concocted, TL, implying he's repeating the method, Ling Mo rushed into the zombie crowd appearing relaxed, and directly killed nearly dozens of zombies with an incredible fast attack. Almost in the blink of an eye, zombies' corpses surrounded Ling Mo. Spattered with blood, Ling Mo now looked like the killing god, suddenly blindsiding the woman and man in the supermarket. OS. Shauna, did you see that? What did that person do? So cruel. That boy stared directly, could not help but shout shockingly, and he did not realize that a zombie squeezed through the cracks of the counter and reached out to him. Poof! A slash of coldness went before his eyes. Then that hand fell beside his feet, and he was covered in cold sweat watching the girl that stood beside him. Shauna eyed him coldly. At the same time, she thrusted the long knife into the zombie's belly, then forced it out. How's that my business? We are saved. Come on, let's break out. Even though Shauna reacted indifferently, but the boy's exceptionally excited. After all, it's a turning point. Regardless whether Ling Mo was willing to save them, this boy immediately jumped out of the counter, and Shauna also followed to rush up after frowning her brow. From a distance, watching the two people breaking through towards his direction, Ling Mo knew that temporarily it would not be possible to shake them off. So, instead of watching them attracting over another group of zombies, why not help them get away? With Ling Mo's help, those two soon broke through the zombie siege. At this time, they're already gathered dozens of zombies before the supermarket, so they cannot stay for more than 1 second. Brother, come with me. The boy smiled at Ling Mo gratefully, then turned to run toward an alley. And Ling Mo looked back to the street full of zombies. He had to take Ye Lian and followed them. As for the girl, she walked last calmly, from time to time, cut down zombies that followed too tightly. Watching the girl attack from a close distance, Ling Mo did not only care about her super fast attack speed, but also the long knife she is holding. The knife is very sharp and heavy. Don't know how her thin arm can swing it so quickly yet relaxingly. Most importantly is her facial expression and eyes when she beheaded zombies. They were too calm to the point it makes people feel a little scared. The boy led Ling Mo and Ye Lian in and out of alleys for more than 10 minutes, then headed into a small building, which finally got rid of the big wave of zombies. When the boy stopped to take a breath, Ling Mo already noticed that this small building has been cleaned up a bit. Most likely this is their base. Brother, it's all thanks to you. After death-defying fleeing for more than 10 minutes, the boy's face was completely flushed. Even his hair was dripping sweat. He tapped Ling Mo lightly on the shoulder, while intermittently said, really, thanks. His expression was actually very sincere, so Mo just accepted the appreciation and nodded. You are so good. The boy finally caught up his breath and immediately said admiringly, and your girlfriend too? Didn't even blush or change breathing rhythm after running for this long. You can't be a born athlete, right? But by the looks of it, there aren't really any muscles. Seems to be on the par with our Shauna. Lu Yuhao, why are you so annoying? Shauna, who had been silent, suddenly frowned and interrupted him, and she looked a bit unhappy. Who is your Shauna? Don't be like this. We were classmates after all. Lu Yuhao laughed and said. Then he turned to Ling Mo and smiled. Today is all thanks to you. How about you come and sit upstairs for a bit? While he said, he patted the backpack behind him. We got beer. Ling Mo looked back at Ye Lian and thought thankfully that her evolution made her appearance no different than ordinary people. Looking at Shauna and Lu Yuhao's reaction, it seemed like they did not see any flaws. However, for Ye Lian's consideration, he felt it would be best to minimize contact with the survivors. Therefore, after considering for a second, Ling Mo decisively shook his head. It's all right. We still have business to attend. What kind of business? Come, let's sit together. Lu Yuhao was suddenly shocked. From his viewpoint, meeting other survivors at the end of the world is clearly something to be happy about. Even if not surviving together, it would be good to exchange experiences. Not to mention a powerful figure like Ling Mo must have a lot of information that might be beneficial to them. If they can stay, they will no doubt be a huge help to them. As for business, besides trying to survive in the end of the world, what else could there be? Shauna said somewhat impatiently. If they don't want to, don't push them. She stopped her words halfway, suddenly surprised, eyeing Ling Mo's hand knife. After a moment of pause, she suddenly extended her hand to Ling Mo's waist in lightning speed, simply not giving people a chance to react. Ling Mo did not expect her to act that way suddenly, but just when her fingers touched the hand of the knife, Ling Mo reacted rapidly. He just slightly turned sideways, and with a subtle angle Shauna's action ended in failure. This made Shauna surprised instead, and Lu Yuhao's mouth also fell open in horror. Shauna, what are you doing? Action's failure made Shauna to look at Ling Mo with a glimmer of change, but her tone turned a little unfriendly. Where did you get this knife? It's not your business. After her sudden act and rough questioning, Ling Mo could not help but to frown slightly and reply bluntly. Although not voluntary, but I at least saved them, there should be a limit of not knowing your manners. Look at Lu Yuhao's careful attitude to her. He knew that she must use to being arrogant with her own superior fighting ability. But Ling Mo is not going to let her have her way. You. Shauna stared at Ling Mo with somewhat angry look, but from time to time her eyes flickered towards the knife, which means that she is obviously concerned about this. After a few seconds of silence, she adjusted her tone slightly, then asked, "Where did you get this knife? Could you tell me?" This kind of girl rarely put down her attitude so quickly. It's obvious from Liu Yu Hao's surprised reaction to Shauna's sudden change of tone. There was nothing to hide originally. Ling Mo then explained briefly of how he went over to the sword store in search of weapons. He only altered the story slightly in terms of the mutated zombie, such as that piece of red gel from that zombie. Hearing about the existence of mutated zombies, these two did not look startled, and this also allows Ling Mo to confirm his guess. Sure enough, in the urban areas, there's a good number of mutated zombies. The shop you went to, it's the Wong family shop, right? Shauna asked suddenly. How did you know? Although the knife is a finished product, but the knife itself and the scabbard are without lettering. How could this girl tell? Then think again, Wong's handmade swords are quite famous in X City. It would not be difficult to guess. Shauna looked at the knife in mixed emotions. In other words, all the people in that store have died. Never mind, it's nothing. Since there's nothing else, can you not stare at my... Since Shauna has been staring intensely at Ling Mo's lower body, where that knife was hanging, Ling Mo always had a very strange feeling. He could not help but bite the bullet, and said. Shauna is at first surprised for a moment, then chuckled out uncaringly. Don't be afraid, your girlfriend did not mind it at all, didn't she? Then, she pointed at Ye Lian who was standing behind Ling Mo. Right? Mississippi. I do mind. Ling Mo at the moment did not know what to say. This Shauna looked at Mo 17 or 18 years old. How could she speak this sharply? But hearing she tried to talk to Ye Lian, Ling Mo quickly said, well, excuse me, she cannot speak. Huh? Such a pretty lady is actually a mute? I am sorry. Please do not mind me, sister. Liu Yu Hao first exclaimed loudly, and then quickly smiled with embarrassment. Ling Mo also does not know how to explain. He could only smile wryly and nodded. Something he did not expect it of, Shauna looked deeply at Ye Lian, suddenly grabbed her wrist. If Ling Mo did not immediately stop Ye Lian's impulse attack, probably at this moment, Shauna would have been teared into pieces by Ye Lian. From her expression, clearly Shauna did not realize how much danger she put herself in. Sis, come to our home to rest for a moment. I see that you are probably tired. Her tone implied a hint of sympathy, but after speaking, she looked at Ling Mo much softly. You're good too. Come upstairs for a moment. I will treat you to beer. Ling Mo was about to refuse. Shauna is already dragging Ye Lian to walk upstairs, and Liu Hao also went behind Ling Mo, pushes back and urged, come on, we rarely see living people. Walked upstairs, and after opening one of the room doors, Ling Mo was surprised to find that there were more than 2 people living in this building besides Shauna and the boy. A dozen of men and women turned to look at the door at the same time. A quick scan. All of them are young people who are no more than 20 years old. One of the girls wearing junior high school uniforms excitingly came over as soon as she heard the door opened. Big sister, you guys are back. You guys brought back 2 other people? The female junior high student looked across Shauna to Ye Lian and Ling Mo, and she casually asked. Then she turned the attention to Liu Yu Hao's backpack. How's the loot for today? It's all right. Just looted that big supermarket by the South Street. There's still a lot of things I did not take back, but I already hid them. We can go get them once we are out again. Liu Yu Hao somewhat smiled proudly, but simply did not mention how they were in the life and death situation. Nearly died. By the way, I will introduce 2 people to you. This is, sorry brother, I forgot to ask you your name. Liu Yu Hao just opened his mouth passionately, and then suddenly stopped embarrassingly. Ling Montak, this is my girlfriend, Ye Lian. After sighing secretly, Ling Mo introduced himself. It's Big Brother Ling. Liu Yu Hao shortly resumed his passionate tone, wrapped his arm around Ling Mo's shoulder, pushed him to the middle of the living room. Everyone pay attention. This is the one who greatly helped us today, so we decided to invite him to eat and drink. This group of young men and women were all either sitting on the sofa in the living room or on the floor, and they did not particularly care about the appearance of Ling Mo and Ye Lian. But right after hearing the words of Liu Yu Hao, they all looked surprised to see Ling Mo. One of the men who was lying on the sofa directly sat up straight, looked up and down at Ling Mo suspiciously, said, how was it possible? There is Shauna. What are the chances for him to help? That's right, with big sister Shauna here. How could an outsider help? Another person also echoed in agreement, and especially emphasized on the word outsiders. Then the middle school girl from before walked over, waved and said, anyways, it's just a meal. You guys don't have to be like this. Freeloading is freeloading. No need for excuses. Liu Yu Hao, you are too good of a person. We never had any more food to spare originally. The man who questioned earliest gave another grunt and said. Liu Yu Hao's expression became embarrassed again. He stole a look from Ling Mo, but realized the criticism did not trigger much reaction from Ling Mo. Everything I said is true. How could you guys know? Shauna gets carried away whenever she fights, so she forgets to pay attention to the surroundings at all. Liu Yu Hao clearly does not know how to cope with this kind of situation, even though he tried hard to explain, but this group of young men and women still have that skeptical expression on their face. At this time, Shauna also walked over with Ye Lian, but she did not seem willing to help to explain at all. Instead looked at Ling Mo with a trace of quizzical smile. Eyes clearly signaled. Let's see how you handle this situation. Holding a grudge from earlier. She is such a vengeful girl. Obviously, although she put down her attitude before, but she did not forget how she was taken back by Ling Mo's sentence before. But she was obviously wrong. For these who only know to reap profits, and a group of clique moths, Ling Mo does not even have the slightest interest to argue with them. He only sneered and turned to pull Ye Lian's hand, and wanted to leave. Excuse me, I never had the intention to be a freeloader. You enjoy your meal. Joe, he's cocky too. Shauna and Lu Yuhao were all stunned, and the young man who just opened his mouth also showed off a sudden ugly expression because he felt that Ling Mo's reaction putted him in an embarrassing position. So he cynically said, "This kind of man even brings a woman. Can you even feed her? You are lucky that you will be given food. How dare you to act almighty? This is really unbearable. It was going to be okay for you of acting all creepy for the thought of me being a freeloader and be afraid that their food supply will become less. I was ready to leave, but they still tried to embarrass me. You really think that I'm made of tofu?" Ling Mo's pupil suddenly shrunk. Almost in the blink of an eye, he dashed before the young man. And in this process, Shauna was the first one to realize Ling Mo's attempt. But the moment when she reached out to block, Ling Mo has already swept past her, although her speed is fast, but her neural response is far behind of this seemingly ordinary man. At the same time, when she reached out her hand to grab him from back, Ling Mo seemed to have seen through her actions, avoided her with the high-speed movements, not only went past her, but also appeared in front of the young man without stagnation. The young man only felt a flash of blackness before his eyes, then felt his collar grabbed by someone, with both feet off the ground. "You mother F. Bah!" A sonorous slap in the face stunned all people at the scene. "This is called rewarding you with a slap. If you dare to speak another sentence that offends me, I will reward you more." Ling Mo's cold eyes made the young man whose face became instantly swollen afraid to cry out. Humiliation, resentment, and even too afraid to struggle. In Ling Mo's eyes, he can clearly feel undisguised coldness, and with Ling Mo's skill, he knew Ling Mo was not bluffing. "Shauna," the young man shouted with a stutter, although he held his face sullenly, not trying to show off his fear to Ling Mo, but the panic in his eyes have already betrayed him. Ling Mo's ruthless move surprised everyone, including Shauna. But when heard the youth cry out, although her eyes flashed a hint of disgust, but still stepped forward and spoke. "Ling Mo, let go of him. Apologize." But Ling Mo said coldly. Shauna frowned. "You have already hit. Two different things, apologize. Why should I?" As soon as the young man opened his mouth, there comes a sound of "pa." His face suffered another slap. Shauna looked at Ling Mo sophistically, then turned to look at the young man whose both cheeks are swollen, said, "Lu Xn, apologize. It's your fault that your moth stinks." He expected Shauna to stand up for him, but did not expect to provoke another slap in the face. The whole house people are now looking at him. Each of their looks are like needles stinging on his body. Lu Xion's face showed as if he swallowed a fly, and his heart was also full of anger. "I stood up because I wanted everyone to eat a little more. How dare you say my mouth stinks, and no one stood up for me, seeing me take the beating." But under Ling Mo's watch, Lu Xn could only swallow these sentences back to his stomach. Through his teeth, he squeezed out 3 words, "I am sorry." As soon as the word came out his mouth, he felt his face burning, almost like been slapped by Ling Mo consecutively 10 times. Ling Mo let out a disdained grunt, threw Lu Xian on the ground, then grabbed Ye Lian to walk towards outside without hesitation. "Wait!" Lu Yuhao finally reacted, quickly caught up, took out 2 tins of beer and a few packs of chocolate from the backpack, and stuffed them into Ling Mo's hands. His face was full of regret. "I am sorry, really sorry. What kind of people are those? Just depend on you and Shauna to find food." Even though Lu Yuhao tricked him once, but Ling Mo held no grudge towards him and could not help but ask. "All classmates. We all came from the same boarding school." Lu Yuhao reluctantly shook his head. That Lu Xin, he came from a very wealthy family, usually very arrogant, don't mind him. Besides, even if we let them go out to find food, it will just give us trouble. You saw it, Shauna is the most powerful one among us. Originally, I also hoped that you could join us. I don't keep people that leech, no excess energy. Ling Mo directly interrupted Lu Yuhao's words. "I see. Anyways, thank you for today." Lu Yuhao did not finish his sentence, and Shauna followed over. She looked at Ling Mo deeply, then turned to look at Ye Lian sympathetically, eventually spoke in a low voice. "It will be dark soon. Come and spend the night. Even if you can hold it, big sister cannot take it. Don't mind that Lu Xin, he would not dare to offend you again." Shauna spoke sincerely, but Ling Mo really does not intend to stay with this group of people. "No, I can always find a place in the city." "Don't go." Just when Ling Mo turned around, he felt someone drag his sleeve. He turned back, and it's Shauna. Seeing Ling Mo casting a questionable look, Shauna actually showed a hint of tweaking expression, until Ling Mo seemed to have become somewhat impatient. Then she finally spoke with a lot of determination. "I see that you are very powerful and not scared of zombies. I would like to ask for your help." "Oh, I refuse." Ling Mo decisively shook his head. Saving them was originally out of frustration, not to mention of experiencing some unpleasantness a moment ago. Right now, he just wanted to leave quickly with Ye Lian, or else it would be impossible to leave when it gets dark. "How could you be like this? I didn't say anything yet." Shauna bit her lip depressingly, clutched to Ling Mo's shirt, and did not seem to want to let go at all, although her face appeared stubborn. But observing closely, Ling Mo realized that she actually has a baby face that looked much younger than her actual age. Before, he only noticed her ice-cold side when cutting zombies, and he was completely unaware that she's actually a cute little girl. Maybe it's because she had to bear the responsibility of taking care of these many people, or because she experienced too much battle. Shauna gives off a much more mature feeling than her appearance. Hey, do not stare at me. Noting Ling Mo's eyes have been locked to her face, Shauna suddenly raised her eyebrows and threw off his arm. We are all survivors, and you do have some tricks at your sleeves. Why aren't you willing to help? If really so powerful, why do you still need my help? Hearing Shauna's tone, she is obviously reluctant to admit that she is not better than Ling Mo. Ling Mo thought. Let's put it this way, if it's related to those leechers, I will not help. Ling Mo really does not have much feeling toward those who sit and reap the profits, and ever since Shauna and the boy came back, these people never even cared about their safety. Instead, they only cared about their own profits and how to exclude outsiders. Slapping Liu Xian's face to a certain extent was also a hit to these worms' faces indirectly. But that is, after all, Shauna and Liu Yuhao's own choice, so Ling Mo did not intend to say anymore. But to ask him to do something related to these people, it would be impossible. But after listening to his words, Shauna actually showed a hint of enigmatic smile. Does this mean you are willing to help as long as it's not related to them? That's good, because this business really has nothing to do with them. I did not say that. I just heard that Liu Yuhao told you. We're a student from the 3rd high school from X City. You know about this school, right? I know. Prestigious boarding school, right? In X City, the 3rd high school is very famous. But for Ling Mo, whose grades was only mediocre, he had only heard about the school, but he had never actually been there. Rather, Ye Lian graduated from 3rd high school the year before, and she was admitted to X City University. But he would have never guessed that the retarded Liu Xian, who appeared to be asking for punches, is actually part of the 3rd City High School. At this time, Liu Yuhao added promptly that Liu Xian was admitted through money. You are so annoying. Shauna glared at him, then continued. When we escaped from there, some of the students were left at school. We were going to pick them up after settling down. But when we went back there once, it was impossible to go near. You only need to help me to enter the school. How about it? To be honest, Ling Mo does not have this self-sacrificing spirit and will not force his own standards onto others. He looked at Shauna somewhat meaningfully, suddenly extended his hand. What about payment? What? You did not think that I'm a free labor, right? Ling Mo rightly asked. Liu Yuhao's eyes suddenly jumped, instantly asked witlessly. Who told me that after the outbreak of the disaster, everyone will help to benefit each other? Big brother Ling, I suddenly feel that the world is very dark. It also depends on what kind of disaster. Do you still think there is still order and morality? Ling Mo gave a cold grunt, said. Indeed, they're full of zombies out there. The living ones hide like mice, surviving in between the cracks. The order of the entire world has completely collapsed. A week ago, maybe they still counted on being saved, but now they have completely understood that in this situation, besides saving ourselves, there is no other option. During the disaster outbreak, everyone may become zombies in an instant, and no one could even explain exactly through which channel did the virus spread. But in such a large mass of outbreak, and how it swept across the world in a single day, the virus was probably spread through air. And when these mutated zombies encounter living people, they will only immediately tear and swallow them, not giving them a chance to mutate at all. Shauna looked stunned for a while as she stares at Ling, then a hint of smile suddenly surfaced. That's reasonable. But didn't you already got your payment? Shauna's hand pointed at Ling Mo's waist knife. This is made by my relative. You and Wang Rin are relative? Ling Mo was shocked. The world is a bit too small. But this actually explained why this little girl have such sharp long knife. This tool is already out of the scope of the common control in the capital. It can completely be called a lethal weapon that's illegal to carry. But when Ling Mo looked to her long knife, he found that the lettering on the handle is slightly different. The letters inscribed is not the name of Wang. Probably saw Ling Mo's doubts. Shauna touched the exposed knife handle using her backhand, coldly grunted and said, You don't have to look anymore. I made this myself. By the way, the one you have is made by Wang Rin. Wang Rin. This really stunned Ling Mo. He did not expect that Wang Rin, who appeared so weak and sick, can actually create handmade swords, and crafted it so well. But then he thought, Wang's shop is a family business. It would not be strange for her to inherit the craftsman skill. However, at this young age, and with such good craftsman skill, but to be killed at such early age without leaving behind a complete corpse, Ling Mo could not help but to clench the handle, and his expression had also become somewhat gloomy in an instant. Shauna did not notice the subtle changes in Ling Mo's eyes, but continued to speak. Even though she did not make it as good as me, but this knife still worth quite a bit? You are considered to have received an advance payment. So, shall we start? If you're worried about the safety of the big sister, TL, referring to Ye Lian, she can wait for us here. My classmates will take care of her. No thanks. Ling Mo directly interrupted Shauna's seemingly light-hearted proposal. No kidding. Ye Lian is actually a mutated zombie. Once out of his control, probably all they will see later is a pile of bones and meat scraps when they come back. Although you are quite annoying as a person, but you are good at this aspect. Even though big sister cannot talk, and seems quite introverted, but she is beautiful. You should continue to cherish her. Shauna raised her eyebrows, suddenly patted Ling Mo's shoulders, looked seriously, and said, "Actually, little sister, you really misunderstood." But knowing that Shauna and Wang Rin are relatives, Ling Mo's heart also loosened up about not wanting to help her out. In a place like densely populated school campus, there are naturally more zombies. The people who stayed in there most likely had the odds against them. Although Shauna may have thought about this result already, she still did not give up. Should we really say that she is persistent, or just stupid? Only to the door. Ling Mo carefully considered for a moment. It would be no problem to break through until the front door. In case if there are any unforeseen circumstances, he still has Ye Lian besides him. Great. Big brother Ling, it's rare to see that you are willing to stay and help. We must drink tonight. Liu Yuhao secretly gave Shauna a thumb up, then put his arm around Ling Mo's shoulders and laughed. Since it's a trade, then I will not say thank you. Shauna smiled slightly, and then pulled Ye Lian. Looks like she took a liking to this beautiful sister who cannot speak at all and carries no expression. In terms of the situation where Ling Mo and Ye Lian were staying, with Liu Xin as the previous example, other people did not dare to complain again. But from how most people are deliberately avoiding eye contacts, Ling Mo could see that they were really afraid of him. Even though Shauna is strong, but she never acted against Ling Mo. Maybe they finally realized at the moment when Ling Mo grabbed Liu Xin, it would be better to stay put in front of him. And just like the effect Ling Mo wanted to achieve, although his only slapped on Liu Xin's face, but in reality the rest of the disgruntled people also felt that burning pain on their face. As for Liu Xin, as soon as he heard that Ling Mo is actually staying, he immediately fled into the room, afraid to show his face again. Ling Mo did not think he overreacted. This is actually a world without order. Since he has the strength, then he will not allow others to insult him. Everyone remember those teachers and students who stayed back at the school. Liu Yuhao arranged Ling Mo to sit on the sofa, then excitingly said to those people, "Big brother Ling already agreed to help Shauna and I to find them." Everyone all froze for a moment, instantly looked at Ling Mo with mixed feelings. The female junior high school student from before hesitantly spoke. "There are a lot of zombies over there." The implication, obviously, is that the success rate of this operation is extremely low. And in other people's eyes, you could see skepticism. I've already told you guys before, I must go back to find them. If it wasn't for them, you guys would have already be turned into leftovers inside zombie's stomach. Compared to Liu Yuhao, Shauna is not only more direct, but also blunt. If it wasn't for that, she looked like a clingy little sister because of how she was holding Ye Lian's hand. She really behaved like a boss. But at this time, a man in glasses who sat on the left of Ling suddenly spoke. "If so, then let's all go together. Shauna is right. They are probably still alive and waiting for us to pick them up. It would be too selfish for us to just walk away like this. How about it? Can you take us?" As soon as his voice fell, everyone's face became somewhat unpleasant, but strangely no one objected. "No way." Not waiting for Shauna and Liu Yuhao to speak, Ling Mo said promptly. The man in glasses did not seem to be angry when his proposal was rejected. He only turned to Ling Mo and asked, "Why? You all do not have the ability to fight, and we'll be too big of a target if the whole group goes. Getting blackmailed and extorted by Shauna is all right after all, but being a babysitter for these group of people, Ling Mo is not nice enough to do something like that." Although the man in glasses worded everything nicely, but Ling Mo felt that they wanted to follow them just because of their lack of sense of security, and it can be seen from their reaction. The third high school is quiet far from here. It would be no problem if all those people were killed. But if there are survivors, then it would take a few days for Shauna and the boy to come back. After all, going through those crowded zombie areas is not a simple matter. Of course, these people do not have any pressure. They just need to play their role as a good liability. But there is not enough food to eat. The man who previously echoed an agreement with Liu Xin suddenly opened his mouth and bitterly said, and it is equivalent to confirming Ling Mo's previous speculation. "That's right, we never thought to meet Big Brother Ling today, so we did not prepare enough food for him in advance." Liu Yuhao patted his own head, then turned to look at Ling Mo pleadingly. "Well, you do not have to take care of their life and death. You just need to help us in times of crisis. Would it be all right then?" Shauna thought for a little, suddenly said to Ling Mo. As soon as she said, everyone's face became somewhat subtle. They probably all knew about their own position, but it was probably the first time been clearly pointed out in the public, which is inevitable embarrassing. In fact, it's because they know that they are a burden, so they would be dissatisfied with Ling Mo's appearance. Regardless if Ling Mo is the same as them in terms of being a burden or with some ability, for these people who likes to form cliquey, Ling Mo and Ye Lian are all foreign invaders. As for Shauna and Liu Yuhao, the two are like hosts in these people's eyes. They might take full advantage of those two and make sure they are the only benefactor. But leeches should consciously behave like leeches. Once the host makes a statement, they can only endure even if they are dissatisfied in their hearts. Since Shauna already said it, no one else said anything and Ling Mo just nodded in agreement. "Okay, great, Shauna. You don't have to worry. Just give us weapons and we will try to protect ourselves." Glasses man showed a hint of smile of joy and said, but from the other people's completed expression, that would probably not be the case. Everyone then discussed the details for another moment. and then Liu Yuhao took out the food from the backpack, ate a simple meal while sitting together with the group. The food they looted from the city could barely fill people's hunger. Rather, Ling Mo's food in his backpack were a lot better regardless of it being in terms of taste or calories. It's pretty normal, there are a lot of more zombies in the urban area and a lot more survivors, so all kinds of supermarket probably have been through several rummages. But Ling Mo does not intend to take it out and share. Big sister, you will not eat? Shauna handed Ye Lian half a pack of instant noodles, but found Ye Lian completely unresponsive. Big sister, are you in a bad mood? Although Shauna did not seem to notice, but Liu Yuhao felt a sense of coldness from Ye Lian's eyes. He could not help but to ask tentatively. No, she just does not interact much with strangers. Ling Mo suddenly felt a headache because of all sorts of things that could go wrong if this conversation continues, so they quickly interrupted their questioning. Big sister, let's sleep together tonight. Shauna suddenly proposed. Ling Mo, you sleep together with Liu Yuhao. Boys live there, and we girls lives on the opposite. She pointed to the opposite direction as she said. Even though Ling Mo wanted to refuse, but when his eyes swept through Shauna and several other girls, he could not help but nodded for some mysterious reason. All right. It's not far anyways. Ye Lian won't be out of control. Ever since his mental strength increased, there is a significant growth in terms of distance. Ling Mo's quick response surprised Shauna, but this changed her views about Ling Mo slightly. After the outbreak of the disaster, all recreational activities are basically gone. After dinner, although the sky just became dark, everyone all returned to their rooms silently to rest. Shauna also took Ye Lian and went to the opposite room with several other girls. While Ling Mo maintains the spiritual contact with Ye Lian, he would be sleeping alone on a single bed under Liu Yuhao's arrangement. This is like special treatment. After all, he will help Shauna and these people towards the third high school. And with his fighting ability, even though he chooses to help selectively, it would have special significance to Shauna and her people. But no one expected that when Ling Mo slept on the single bed and closed his eyes to rest, his perspective had already switched over to Ye Lian body. Leaving Ye Lian be with you guys alone, I cannot but help to worry. Must pay attention. Ling Mo said secretly in his heart. Ever since encountering the zombie Ye Lian, Ling Mo was constantly undergoing a process of pain and happiness. The body that once existed only in fantasies could now be touched at any time and become naked by his hands again and again, although it was only for the purpose of changing cloth. Seeing Ye Lian's emotionless eyes, he could only push down the strong desire to push her down onto a bed. But this compassion will only appear before Ye Lian. So when Shauna brought Ye Lian down in the corner of a mattress, she did not know at all that at this time, a strange smile emerged on Ling Mo's face in the opposite room. Big sis, just sleep with me. There's no way to add another bed for now. Shauna frowned her eyebrows, glanced the surrounding, and said apologetically. This girl who acts so arrogantly is surprisingly gentle towards Ye Lian, which makes Ling Mo could not help but sigh in the heart. If she knew about Ye Lian's true identity, who knows what kind of face she will make. As a zombie, it's not like Ye Lian does not need a rest, but unlike the average people who need longer time to sleep. After being affected by the virus and turning into a zombie, in the case where the body is controlled completely by instincts, these zombies instead understand how to make efficient use of their own body energy. Those zombies who wandered on the street seemingly to have lazy movements, but once they spot a prey, they will instantly burst out tyrannical power and speed and immediately transformed into horrifying monsters. With no feeling of pain or thought to retreat, then coupled with flexible movements, once these zombies start to attack, they will not stop until the target disappears. However, in the absence of a prey, their movement will immediately slow down to minimize physical activities. Compared to the amount of sleep needed by average people, zombies only needed this level of rest. But in front of Shauna and these girls, I cannot let Ye Lian act strangely. So Ling Mo commanded Ye Lian to nod her head, then just laid down on the side of the mattress against the wall. Big sis, are you not going to undress? Shauna asked questionably, and then extended her hand to take off Ye Lian's jacket. You will catch a cold if you sleep with clothes on. Come on, I will help you. What do you want to do, little sister? Ling Mo's eyebrow hopped, and he shouted in his mind. He agreed to let Ye Lian to sleep with Shauna, only wanted to experience the pleasure of sleeping among the flowers, TL, implying beautiful girls, but I did not intend to play this shameful game. But since you offered, you cannot blame me. After controlling Ye Lian to sit up, Ling Mo, rather, using Ye Lian's slender and pale hand suddenly grabbed Shauna's collar and pulled her towards Ye Lian. Shauna was stunned for a moment. With Ye Lian's power and speed, coupled with no defense, she did not even have the time to react and was already dragged before Ye Lian. With Ye Lian's finger flexibly picked open the first button of the neckline, a touch of white skin immediately appeared. Shauna called out in a low voice, but did not push away Ye Lian, apparently totally stunned. Right now the distance between her and Ye Lian is less than 10 centimeters. The air ejected by her breathing could even blow up Ye Lian's hair. But she did not notice that Ye Lian's respiratory rate is surprisingly low, almost imperceptible to people. But when Ye Lian untied the third buttons and can even get a glimpse of a corner of the small rabbit, implying the two things on the chest, Shauna finally came back to her senses. Big sis, you are pretty bad. Shauna, Poochie laughed out, directly pushed Ye Lian down on a mattress, and twisted together with her. I will help you to undress. Ha ha ha. The rest of the girls also looked over with a smile, and even that female junior high student from earlier joined in. And Ling Mo, who's currently lying down by himself, is having a twitched eye. A place like girls' dormitory is really shameful. After being naughty for a whole 10 minutes, Shauna, who was stripped to only an underwear, finally got into bed and lay down beside Ye Lian, who is also stripped with only underwear. Ever since the beginning, where the female junior high student joined, the rest of the girls also rushed over. The Ye Lian, who has a pretty face but does not speak a word, stimulated great interest among these young girls. For a few times, Ling Mo felt that Ye Lian's chest was attacked. Wow, so big. Ah, big sis, what is the size of your cup? Such skinny waist, slippery skin. From a moment where the girls touched Ye Lian, the Ye Lian, controlled by Ling Mo, was in a completely abandoned state. After all, this is a group of undressed girls around him. Things like constantly creating physical contact were never experienced or even imagined by Ling Mo. Most importantly, even though the one they attacked was Ye Lian, but Ling Mo was the one who suffered. Until the moment where Shauna got into bed, Ling Mo suddenly woke up. Big sis, your body feels cold. Shauna touched Ye Lian with her warm foot, rolled over to Ye Lian, and whispered, let's return the favor. Ling Mo let Ye Lian's hand to touch Shauna, but the moment she tried to act, her elbow hit Shauna's chest. Oh, let's stop playing. Suddenly attacked by the chest, Shauna is not angry, just laughed in a low voice. Never thought that big sis is actually quite cheerful. It would be much better if you could smile more. You are so beautiful, and laughing will make you look very good. But that Ling does not look good enough for you. I thought in the beginning that he forced you. Give me a break, little sister. Big brother here has a bottom line. Ling Mo secretly rolled his eyes and manipulated Ye Lian to shook her head. Haha, I know, then I saw that your body is clean and heard how he talk about you. Then I knew that he is not that kind of scum. Shauna leaned toward Ye Lian a little more, almost sticking with Ye Lian's body. Go to sleep. We still have to go to the third high school tomorrow. Anyways, thank you guys in advance. This girl has totally two different personalities in front of Ling Mo and Ye Lian, probably because of performing too much physical activities during the day. After she finished speaking, she soon let out long, even breathing, and seemed to have already fallen asleep. And Ling Mo actually looked through Ye Lian's perspective and stared at her for a moment. After falling asleep, not only the arrogance disappeared from Shauna's face, but also revealed a little softness. Letting such small girl in charge of this many people's hope for survival, it really makes life difficult for her. Ordinary people responsible for their own survival already has tremendous pressure, and imagine what kind of extremely heavy burdens is there on Shauna's not-so-strong shoulders. Although she entirely made it herself. After touching Shauna's cheek, Ling Mo, who was lying on a single bed, quickly fell asleep after taking a long, deep breath. Like Shauna said, there's still tomorrow. In order to ensure adequate strength, it's better to have a good rest. Early next morning, this little building, which appears ordinary from the outside, immediately began to get busy. Liu Yuhao averaged the food stocks in terms of head count, distributed to the hands of everyone. Even Ling Mo and Ye Lian were no exception. Of course, for Ling Mo, who has a full backpack of food, merely 2 bottles of mineral water and a few packs of snacks to him were simply useless, which were even more useless to Ye Lian, who is completely not interested in ordinary people's food. But when other people took over this meager amount of food and then saw Ling Mo's uncaring expression, they all looked a little uncomfortable. Liu Xin, whose cheeks were still swollen, even complained in a low voice to people around him. He doesn't even care about us, and took our things. Shut up, you want to get another beating? The man in glasses said something back, frowning. It's all because you guys are too pussy to fight back with me. Liu Xin's face immediately flushed. After cursing in a low voice, he suddenly shut his mouth. Even though Ling Mo did not even look at him directly. But when Liu Xin sees Ling Mo walked in, he still took control of that piece of foul mouth and stopped speaking. What kind of weapons do you guys have? Ling Mo did not even care about people like Liu Xin. He walked directly up to Liu Yuhao and asked. Liu Yuhao is currently trying to rummage in several large backpacks. Hearing Ling Mo, he looked up and pulled out a kitchen knife, embarrassingly. This is like the best. In fact, with ordinary people's arm strength, using the kitchen knife to cut off zombies' head in one shot is extremely difficult. To cause fatal injuries and to prevent zombie movements would probably not be easy at all. And for close-range fights, even if you hold the weapon in your hands, willpower and neural response would be another great challenge for ordinary people. If it wasn't for the help of zombie puppets, it would even be hard for Ling Mo to advance relying on battles. But that's still better than nothing. Kitchen knives are overall much better than bare hands. It's better to give one to each person. A single zombie is only slightly stronger than an average person. With a little courage, everyone should have some ability to resist. After all, zombies win in quantity. Ling Mo said with a somewhat carefree tone. A normal person encountered by a single zombie does have the strength to fight back. Because of this, Ling Mo looked down on this room, which is filled by leechers that all have hands and legs, who are healthy, energetic, yet chose to rely on a little girl. It's simple for you to say, even though someone muttered in dissatisfaction, but everyone still suddenly went around Liu Yu how to pick up weapons. From Ling Mo's attitude, he won't give them a hand even if they are in danger. And if Shauna and Liu Yu how have no time to attend to them, guess they will have no choice but to die on the spot. Soon, Food and weapons were distributed, and Shauna came back carrying the long knife covered in blood. She went out early, cleaned up those wandering zombies nearby, and at least cleared the road. Let's go. We must arrive at the third high school before afternoon. Shauna stood by the door, her arrogant face showing a hint of firmness. When Shauna spoke, these people all looked at each other and followed Liu Yuhao closely to downstairs. Ling Mo and Ye Lian walked at the rear. As soon as the doors opened, two lying zombie corpses at outside immediately appear before the eyes. A few girls instantly screamed out. "Shut up. You will lead the zombies to here," Shauna said while frowning. Those girls immediately covered their mouth, although the other boys did not make a sound, but they also don't look good. And Ling Mo, who saw this, secretly shook his head, being leechers for too long, and they are now even worse than those ordinary survivors. Up to this time, most likely not many survivors would still scream at the sight of corpses. The third high school is this way. We have to go through 3 residential areas and 2 main streets. As well as a hospital, there are going to be a lot of zombies. You only need to help me out when I can't deal with all of them. Shauna turned and said to Ling Mo. Ling Mo nodded casually, grabbed Ye Lian's hand without attracting attention. There are a lot of factors that caused Ling Mo to agree with Shauna's request. While worried and admired the girl at the same time, Ling Mo also wanted to do something for Wang Rin. After all, the knife she made is very useful. But Wang Rin is dead. He can only help her relative. On the other hand, this is also an opportunity for Ling Mo, not only able to take a look at the situation in the city, but also to hone his zombie puppet controlling ability to enhance the experience of fighting. In fact, while coordinating with Ye Lian during normal days, along with trying out to control several zombies at the same time, Ling Mo vividly noticed that his zombie puppet controlling technique was becoming more and more skilled, but he always felt a barrier in between him and his puppets. This should be the situation of reaching a bottleneck in the common sense. Who knows that after breaking through this bottleneck layer, what kind of state will be achieved? The faster of increasing the strength, the quicker I could help Ye Lian to evolve, probably also enable her to regain her consciousness soon. Ever since swallowing the gel from mutated zombies, and emerged a tiny sign of consciousness, Ye Lian became no longer interested in the ordinary zombies gel, and the effect is not great as well after ingestion. This means that he must take Ye Lian to find even more mutated zombies. According to the 2 previous experiences of encountering zombies, as well as his own analysis, Ling Mo felt that mutated zombies are most likely to occur in places that are relatively enclosed, but also with at least a certain size of crowd. And in hospitals or schools, especially in a boarding school, it's highly likely to have mutated zombies. The moment when he agreed to Shauna's request, Ling Mo had decided that as soon as they reached the school gate, he would move separately from Shauna and her people. They're going to rescue, and he would be taking Ye Lian to find mutated zombies in campus. Going with a large group of leechers, Shauna and others did not move at a fast speed. But looking at Shauna killing zombies with such a relaxed expression, these people also alleviated a lot of fear. And although Liu Yuhao's fighting ability is not as good as Shauna, he was able to coordinate with Shauna's movements. Whenever Shauna pushed back several zombies, he would always find a gap and perform some surprise attacks to get rid of 1 or 2, then immediately retreating to behind Shauna after succeeding. On the other hand, other people did not even dare to attack with weapons at hand. After passing the first residential building with partial success, the first victim finally appeared. While passing a shop, a hand suddenly reached from a collapsed shelf and got a hold of one of the boy. This boy only had the chance to utter a scream. Then with the sound bang, he was directly dragged among the shelves. When Ling Mo, who was the closest to him, kicked away the shelves, the boy was already bitten at the throat by a 7 or 8-year-old little zombie. Eyes wide open and blood pouring out from the mouth, making a cuckoo sound, unable to speak. In just 1 short second, his neck was torn a big hole, and even the trachea was dragged out. And the little zombie looked up with a mouthful of blood. Through the dirty hair, that pair of red eyes stared at Ling Mo as if looking at a dead person. Then he suddenly jumped over. Dealing with single zombies is easy for Ling Mo, especially after he knew how to use the zombie puppet ability to deliver instant effects. In the instant of meeting the eyes of the little zombie, Ling Mo has already turned it into his puppet. Even when the little shit jumped toward him, it was actually under Ling Mo's control. As the little zombie was about to reach Ling Mo's body, the person behind started screaming out of fear as Ling Mo just calmly swung the knife in his hand with an emotionless expression. Poof! A surge of blood flows to the wall when Ling Mo swung, and the little zombie was bisected in the air and fell to his feet. "It's dead," Ling Mo briefly said. He did not take one more look at the zombie's corpse, then went over to check the boy among a pool of blood. All at once, the group of people fell silent. After a few seconds, a girl suddenly cried out, but in fear of the zombies, she immediately covered her mouth when she made the sound, swallowed her scream, then made weird, choking sounds. The rest of the other girls also looked terrified at that body, which was still twitching slightly, eyes almost all red. The boys were not much better either. Shauna walked in front of the body with a depressed expression. Eyes flashed a hint of sadness. But soon she looked away, turned and whispered, "Let's go." But one of the girls looked at Shauna hesitantly, but ultimately did not say anything. This unexpected event immediately changed the atmosphere to become a little heavy, but it also made these people to become even more nervous and careful. They realized that, even though they have Shauna and Liu Yu how to open the road in front, and Ling Mo guarding the rear. No one can guarantee that a situation like that won't happen again. After all, their purpose is to reach the destination, not sweeping mines. Besides the zombies that rush up voluntarily, Shauna and those people will not deliberately pay attention and to search the surrounding shops. The way of how Shauna treated the dead teammate enabled Ling Mo to grasp a further understanding of her personality. She is indeed raising leechers, and she can also be stupidly stubborn sometimes, but she did not lose her decisiveness. This is probably the reason of how she could survive even with a big group of borers who could only extend their hands for food and drinks. Wang Chung, it's all your fault to suggest that we follow them. Otherwise, how could people die? Liu Xin turned back to look at Ling Mo, but he couldn't help but show a hint of disgust seeing how calm Ling Mo is. But since he already learned a lesson from earlier and got thoroughly embarrassed, he could only walk beside the man in glasses and fiercely curse it in a whisper. Wang Chung pushed his glasses and replied in a low voice. How could you guys survive without Shauna and Liu Hao? And you've already seen that Ling Mo is looking down at us. What if he moved Shauna with his words to abandon us? Most importantly, if those people did not die, can Shauna and Liu Hao feed these many people? Liu Xin looked surprised at Wang Chung, then frowned to ask, then what's the use of us following them? If it was before, why would I need to act so carefully around that chick? Not to mention that low-class Ling Mo. He dared to hit me. Behind the lenses, Wang Cheng's eyes flashed a hint of coldness. He interrupted Liu Xian's curse. Why to tag along? Don't you think the disappearance of more people is better for us? Treat Shauna with care. Now she's your food supply. If I were you, I will hide that little trick of yours. You didn't get her to be your girlfriend before, and it's impossible to get her now too. For that, Ling Mo, if I were you, I'll forget about what happened. Is not someone you can mess around with. Liu Xian was stunned for a moment. When he raised his head to look at Wang Chung, he even felt chilled down his spine. Who knew that Wang Chung, who appeared to be nice and gentle, is actually having such insidious ideas? However, in a moment when he was surprised, Wang Chung already held up his kitchen knife and followed behind Shauna's back, acting like he is going to fight with them. But the recovered Liu Xin has already gritted his teeth and cursed. K. If this had not happened, Shauna would have been so obedient if I had just randomly gifted her something. As for that low-class guy, he would not even have the privilege to lick my shoes. Dramatic role changes before and after the end of the world all created the imbalance in Liu Xian's heart. Humiliated by Ling Mo, looked down by Wang Chung, Liu Xian's eyes even became bloodshot. But what is the use of feeling imbalanced? Like Wang Chung said, he cannot even touch Shauna's clothes, and Ling Mo could abuse him anytime. After cursing 3 times all at once, Liu Xian felt that his inner sense of frustrations reduced a little. However, he is right. Took a look around at the surrounding classmates. Liu Xian started to plan secretly at his heart who could be sacrificed. During the next part of the journey, people became more alert because of the victims and went through without a single casualty. The occasionally zombies that appeared were all taken care of by Ling Mo, not even needing any help from Ye Lian. But not for long. The group arrived near a hospital. Shauna did not need to remind these people, and they knew it will be very dangerous around here. Here originally belonged to the most popular part of the street, and in a place where it's highly populated like hospital and medical staff, just imagining the number of zombies that may appear is enough to make people's legs shiver. Some people were already thinking about backing off, but all lost this thought after Shauna's firm stares. Sure enough, the moment where they turned to the corner on the street, the scene that appeared before everyone's eyes made people's scalp tingling, body shivering. Countless discarded or crashed cars piled densely on the street, and within these wreckages, there were at least hundreds of zombies wandering around unconsciously. At the nearest distance inside a high-end sports car, a man's twisted half-face was glued to the front windows, and the other half of the body snatched out by the zombies from the cracks. He disappeared without a trace, with only blood spattered across half of the car. How to get past? The group is already becoming pale. Even Wang Cheng's head was covered in sweat. He quietly leaned toward Shauna. Instead of timidly hiding behind the whole group, the closer to Shauna, the safer zone, although it could be a little frightening. However, in this case, even Shauna felt troubled. On the contrary, Ling Mo still looked calm, even though there were a lot of zombies on the road, but it's not impossible to get past. Shauna's concerns was all due to these draggers after all. I will think of a way to distract their attention. Ling Mo, you take them. Shauna clenched the knife handle tightly and spoke decisively. I will attract the attention of these zombies. Ling Mo suddenly spoke, surprised everyone. Even Shauna looked unbelievable. She does not doubt that Ling Mo will not be capable, but just felt that Ling Mo voluntarily suggested to help them out is hard to be accepted by everyone. Past this district with force will be even more dangerous. You guys first find a place to hide. As soon as the zombies start to gather in my direction, you will pass immediately. It's actually not hard to attract zombies' attention, but the person who is acting as the bait will be in grave danger unless there is time bomb. Even if you have this kind of equipment, how could one explosion hold the zombies' attention for long? And Ling Mo for sure does not have these kinds of firepower, but he has a much safer, smarter method. Are you sure you'll be all right? Shauna asked hesitantly. Let me do it. Just go. Ling Mo smiled and said. On the other hand, Liu Hao looked at Ling Mo admiringly. He patted his shoulder, Big bro Ling, you are the man. I thank you on behalf of everyone. You easily accepted my proposal to let me take the risk. Ling Mo secretly rolled his eyes. He is not doing it for these people, but he just could not watch a girl take it all on herself. Anybody could see that, if Shauna really went over, there will be a slim chance for her to survive. On the other hand, he does not want to stay behind to babysit these people. After all, Ling Mo is just a normal man, even if he has a selfish side, but within his capabilities, it's inevitably for him to emerge a hint of a hero saving the beauty complex. What's more is that it's not only about helping Shauna, but also to return the flavor. After following behind them all this time, Ling Mo did not waste any strength to get here, so it's time to act. But I am really destined to be a poor guy, never learned to stay still, to be a dragger without feeling guilty, even when forced by reality and had to bow down his head in many situations, but the heart still insisted on some silly bottom line that cannot be given up, such as this stupid hero saving the beauty complex. Fortunately this time, he is not digging his own graves. After all, he is confident. Wang Chung and the rest of people's eyes lit up. The moment when they were going to mouth some appreciative words out of formality, they immediately heard Shauna gritting her teeth and saying, "Then we will go hide first." "All right, I can only give you guys 5 minutes." Ling Mo waved and said. After 5 minutes, the place he was at will be full of zombies. The fact that Ye Lian also was staying, although made Shauna doubtful. But one has to say that when they were evacuating, the calmness expression on Ling Mo's face still stunned Shauna's heart very much. As for other people's thoughts, they were all different. But after all, the fact that Ling Mo was risking his life to help voluntarily still touched a lot of people. A few people were even feeling guilty and regretted to have thought Ling Mo as an outcast. But the Ling Mo who has stayed while others ran, he never had those thoughts. To him, whatever others think about him, especially these useless people's thoughts about him, they can totally be ignored. The most important thing is to do what he wanted to do with no regret. And of course the important thing is this is a life-threatening situation for Ling Mo? The answer is of course a no. Ling Mo would not do something such as jumping off the cliff when there's a tiger down there. No matter how much that hero complex develops, he will not go die in vain impulsively. Until Shauna and her people all disappeared, Ling Mo finally touched his nose and moved into a mobile shop next door like a normal day of shopping. When he just arrived here, a few zombies inside rushed out upon hearing movements, but they were soon cut down with the corpses lying across in front of the door. Ling Mo kept Ye Lian outside, and he crossed over the bodies and stepped inside. Since the outbreak until now, all public facilities have lost their functions, and communication is no exception. But Ling Mo is not looking for a normal cell phones, but a powerful, portable audio phone. Fortunately, this mobile shop is not a franchise brand. It sells a wide range of brands of cell phones. Ling Mo found a couple of fully charged cell phones through the messy counter, then walked out with satisfaction. Now he acquired audio equipment. If he just throws these onto the ground, some zombies will be attracted over, but it will not be enough to attract the entire street of zombies. And by doing so, it will be dangerous for himself. Imagine, as soon as the sound explodes, zombies from all around will be gathering over. Ye Lian will be fine when standing among the zombie crowd. But where can I run to? Moreover, since I've already taken the initiative for the task, then I must do my best, otherwise it would be a waste for the ability I have. Indeed, for an average person, a task like this probably has a failure rate of over 90%. But for Ling Mo, it is quite easy. At first, he carefully walked toward the street, used his zombie puppet controlling ability, and controlled 3 zombies. However, since he did not know where Shauna and those people were hidden, Ling Mo specifically chose a dead corner to prevent Shauna and the others from seeing his power in action, and then he commanded those 3 zombies to walk to his side. "Come on, one for each person." Ling Mo smiled strangely and distributed the cell phones to these zombies. He specially selected strong young zombies, so they will be able to move faster later on. After he took a look at the situation on the street, Ling Mo then controlled these zombies to hold the cell phones and go back onto the street. And he and Ye Lian went hidden at that dead corner, calculating the distance between himself and the zombie puppets. Controlling 3 zombies all at once. Presumably the distance will reduce, but after evolution, Ling Mo's spiritual force has been quite different. 30 meters, 50 meters, 100 meters, 150, 300. Frowning, with a pale face, Ling Mo wiped cold sweat from his forehead. The limit is 300 meters, and it's in a state of almost out of control, but it is enough. Ling Mo then turned his look toward the hospital not far away and immediately planned something in his mind. The linear distance between him and the hospital is at most 100 meters. Start. Ling Mo controlled the 2 zombies, trying to walk as far as possible to the other end of the street, and only stopped when his head was about to burst. The moment when one of the zombies pressed down the playing button, Ling Mo felt he almost fainted. In the knockoff cell phones these days, there must be a song with a volume loud enough and a voice light enough. After pressing the play button, there was a brief gap, then immediately a deafening sound burst out. 7 wooden sticks is waving gay tricks. Do it, do it, do it, do it. With the music sounds, this zombie immediately dashed like an arrow straight to the hospital door. The zombies that were wandering on the street almost immediately turned attention to these walking speakers, and soon their throats let out meaningless roaring sound. Rushed up. As Ling Mo have predicted, there were way too many zombies on the street. The zombie puppet did not even go through half of the road. It was already knocked down, and the music quickly disappeared. But it doesn't matter. Ling Mo has already given up the control on this zombie. In the moment when the music disappeared, the second cell phone rang immediately. The same music, same movements, but attracted even more zombies from a distance, and also brought those distant zombies over. And now, at about 100 meters before Ling Mo, the road became almost packed with full of zombies. When the third cell phone rings, the direction of the sound did not came from among these zombies, but at the hospital door. While controlling those two zombies, Ling Mo has already controlled the third zombie to walk in front of the hospital door and press down the play button when the second cell phone was destroyed. A big wave of zombies rushed to the hospital. This sight of spectacular scenes made Ling Mo, who was observing through the perspective of the third zombie, shivered for a moment. These zombies are not like the ones in the movie. They are fast and fierce, and it gives off a very shocking and stunning feeling when the wave rushed over. But as soon as the zombie crowd moved, Ling Mo immediately controlled the third zombie to run to the hospital. And there was a large number of zombies inside the hospital, even though the third zombie was jumping right and left under Ling Mo's control, but was finally completely stopped at the outpatient hall. Living people would hardly have the experience of being chased by hundreds of people, and would not know the feeling when countless hands stretched towards themselves, let alone the feeling of watching himself being ripped off. But in order to delay as much as possible, Ling Mo must endure this kind of feeling inside that zombie's consciousness. Zombies feel no pain. This is really fortunate in the midst of sadness. And through the process, the cell phone was nearly knocked down to the ground for countless times, but Ling Mo at this time fully mobilized his spiritual power, relying on constantly changing the manipulating target and really drag it out for several full minutes. A few minutes are very short, but when among hundreds of zombies, a few minutes is enough to rip apart hundreds of people in an instant. For Ling Mo, this is a great challenge for both the mental strength and the reaction speed. As for Shauna and those people, they are immediately shocked as soon as the music went on. This is like digging his own grave. Shauna gritted her teeth, feeling extremely angry. She carried the long knife and dashed out from the temporary little house, and the others had no time to stop her at all. But when she saw the scene on the street from a distance, she was immediately shocked. The scene where hundreds of zombies running towards one direction, besides seeing it at the start of the outbreak of the disaster, was rarely encountered. And it is impossible to think it was caused by human. For a time, Shauna is feeling both surprised and happy, but at the same also feeling worried. But this is not the time to feel worried. Backhanded slashed a few zombies behind the back that was attracted by the sound. Shauna immediately ran upstairs. It's good. Let's go. This fast. We can really pass. Shut up. He put his life on the line to clear out the roads for us. Let's hurry up. It's not that there are no more zombies on the road, but instead there are some zombies attracted over that was hidden in the dark. So the street is not entirely safe, but it's just much easier to get past. As soon as Shauna and these group of people rushed onto the street, they did not see Ling Mo, and they only paid attention to the fact that most zombies ran into the hospital. Did Ling Mo and Ye Lian went into the hospital? Isn't that suicidal? Shauna became very anxious, stomping on her foot, but she cannot just leave the people behind her on their own. While being stressed out, she saw Ling Mo, who was covered in sweat, ran out with the emotionless Ye Lian. Quick, hurry, I'm at my limit. As soon as Ling Mo finished his sentence, then heard a big sound from the hospital. Numerous glass debris fell through the second floor with dozens of zombies at the same time. At the same time, the hospital door was completely crushed. A few zombies immediately noticed Shauna and began charging right at them. Go! Shauna also did not have time to ask. In this situation, even if she did not shout, these people will run for their lives. Once pinned down, they will fall into the death situation surrounded by hundreds of zombies. If they were in a complex terrain environment, it would not be difficult to lose nearly 20 zombies. But for this area, in addition to the wide street, there are only high-rise buildings on the sides. In a situation where one is not familiar with the routes, you might die faster if you rush carelessly into the alleys. And it is also not realistic to run with these group of zombies. Ling Mo, Ye Lian, and Shauna all have very good physical abilities, but Liu Yuhao already began taking deep breaths, and others had the look that they were going to fall at any time. If it wasn't a life or death situation, they might have already burned out. Most importantly, more and more zombies were following over, and getting closer as well. After all, during the escape, a lot of zombies had already appeared in the front. As soon as they delayed a little bit, their distance would be pulled up close. If this continued, then it won't be for long until they get sandwiched in between. This way, use the covers to kill them. Ling Mo saw it was impossible to get rid of them, so he turned to look around and pointed to a commercial building and said, seemed like he pointed randomly, but in fact in this neighborhood, that commercial building is indeed the most appropriate cover place. Only one revolving door, and the door is still relatively narrow. Even if there are other entrances, it would not matter because they only needed to get rid of these zombies and then they could leave immediately. After saying that, Ling Mo took Ye Lian and rushed directly toward that building, and Shauna also quickly waved, ran over with the rest of the group. As soon as everyone squeezed through the revolving door, The zombies had already rushed to the front. Distorted faces, pairs of emotionless and bloodthirsty red eyes, as well as a very strong blood odor. Even on the other side of the revolving door, when facing that many zombies up close, it was still scary enough for the group to cringe. These zombies were way too fast, resulting in Ling Mo and the rest of the people immediately turning against them when they just entered the revolving door. But the angle advantage manufactured by the Karma-style door did give them a much easier time. At least they don't have to deal with 20 zombies at one time. Each time only a maximum of 3 and 4 can squeeze in, and they were easily killed by Ling Mo, Shauna, and Liu Hao immediately after they extended their head. In this situation, it would be a lot faster if Ye Lian attacked. After all, she uses her hand directly to kill, which is much faster than Ling Mo and the rest of them who have to swing weapons. But Ling Mo is probably the only one who is used to her kind of bloody killing methods. If it was seen by Shauna and these people, who knows what kind of reaction will they have? But just as Ling Mo and these people were guarding the door and fighting intensely, they did not notice that behind front counter of the commercial building, 2 zombies in business skirts and high heels suddenly jumped out. Their previous identities might be white-collar workers in this high-end commercial building, but now has only become zombies who only knew how to predate on others. But stepping on 10 centimeters high heels, even zombies cannot run too fast and stay quiet, thus getting immediately discovered by someone. With a scream, the closest girl was directly pushed down by the zombie. She screamed like crazy, but could not struggle away under that female zombie. And at the moment when she was pushed down, this zombie has already bit down on her carotid artery. Waves of blood immediately splattered out, and at this time the other female zombie was already on her way to push down the next scared boy. But his reaction was much faster than that girl. He backed off right away, but just as he took 2 steps back, he bumped into the glasses man Wang Chung. Acted out of instinct, Wang Chung just pushed him out into the zombies. But that chaotic moment, no one noticed this detail. Helpa! This boy had been panicking at the start. After being pushed, he immediately lost his balance. While being pressed down by the female zombie, he was still issuing screaming noises. But the next second, his voice was blocked at throat. Right now is the best opportunity to fight back, but everyone was all stunned by the bloody scene in front of them. Classmates bitten by the throat, chest, and abdomen torn apart, and screams issued, while still alive, all greatly challenging their nerves. But zombies would not give up on attacking potential preys just because there was food in front of them. After killing these 2 students, they immediately pounced on the nearest survivors. And one of the female zombies began targeting another female student that was not far away from Ye Lian. At this time, the zombies outside the revolving door are attacking fiercely. Despite hearing the screams behind the back, no one can extend a hand to help out. If just relax a little, the main entrance will be immediately broken. At that time, they will be sandwiched in between, more people will die. This female student had been completely scared to death. She could not even move her finger. Her head was of course completely blank. Just as she was about to be ripped apart by the throat in that instant, Ye Lian, who had never fought, suddenly flashed right next to her, grabbed the fruit knife from that student's hand, and in the instant when the female zombie rushed forward, Ye Lian acted like a lightning bolt. A chill flashed through, and the fruit knife went directly into the female zombie's neck from the side. With a twist of the wrist, blood suddenly surged out and directly sprayed over the face of the female student. Scarlet warm blood finally awakened the consciousness of the female student. She frantically screamed. Her legs gave a shiver. A surge of hot fluid flew down the legs. But Ye Lian simply did not look at her anymore, and did not care about the female zombie situations, then directly rushed toward the back of another female zombie. That female zombie just pressed down a male student on the floor, just opened her foul mouth, and a knife tip went through her back head and went out through the mouth. From the moment those female zombies appeared until they were all killed by Ye Lian, it all happened within 1 minute. In 1 short minute, 2 students died. And that male student is also scared to the point where his eyes went out of focus, and he could not even stand up or push the female zombie's corpse off his body. And Ye Lian, who attacked in a rapid speed, was immediately surrounded by these group of people. These people who were just scared half to death does not have the extra thoughts to think. Why a beauty like her who does not appear any special have such brutal killing skills? In short, she was the protection umbrella. In fact, Ling Mo, who was still killing zombies before the revolving door, is the one who controlled Ye Lian to act. And in order to keep the identity a secret, he especially made her to use a weapon. However, while the remaining survivors were trembling in fear, Ling Mo, through Ye Lian's vision, discovered that among this group of people, 2 people were missing. They must have run upstairs due to fear. But rushing to escape is entirely stupid. Without the protection, they will just die faster. There's zombies in the lobby. How could there not be less zombies upstairs? Sure enough, after a while, several more screams passed down from upstairs, which caused the group to shiver again. After a few minutes of mad killing, the zombies that were outside of the revolving door were finally cleared out. Shauna and Liu Hao were sweating profusely, especially Shauna, who attacked with her life. The arm that was holding the knife was even shaking slightly. Although Ling Mo was slightly having an easier time, his face does not look good. He felt some pain in his temples, which is caused by spending too much on spiritual energy. Turning back to look at this bloody scene, Shauna's expression became complicated, some pain and some remorse. And Ling Mo, who noticed that expression, walked over and patted on her shoulder. And then he said in a low voice, "It's not your fault. If you want to protect them, the situation probably would have a worse than now. Shauna whispered back, then smiled faintly at Ye Lian. Thank you. Even if she did not see how Ye Lian attacked, but Ye Lian's fighting ability to kill 2 zombies far exceeded her expectations. One close combat, for people died, such tragic reality caused endless horror to the people at present. The ones that survived all regretted their decisions. If they stayed back, even if they were going to starve to death, it would be much better than the current situation. Likely to die at any time, and to die slowly in a safe environment are 2 completely different concepts. One of the boy angrily turned his head toward Glasses Man Wang Chung, grabbed it by the collar with a shivering hand. It's all you. All your fault. I will kill you. As he said, he suddenly clenched tightly the knife in his hand and is rushing to stab toward Wang Chung. Under the psychological effect of fear and resentment, this boy's eyes were reddening, his face full of murderous attempt, and there wasn't the slightest hesitation in his action. Obviously, he was scared to death. A person in this state is extremely dangerous and can do almost anything under the impulse. Down. Although this scene came suddenly, but Shauna still reacted at the first moment, wrist flipped, directly used the long knife to triumph the knife in boy's hand. Liu Yuhao was also completely shocked, finally gained his attention with the hearing of the metal clashing. He rushed up and grabbed that boy, then immediately hit him with a punch. Are you crazy? At this time, Wang Chung was already pale, whole body trembled involuntarily. After finally breathed evenly, Wang Chung looked at that boy with extremely pernicious eyes. The boy who was overthrown was also stunned. He finally stood up after a while, looked extremely out of his mind. After this impulse, he immediately went into the state of chaotic mind. It's no wonder average people suddenly experience the feeling of death up close, will inevitably show off a short state of psychological breakdown. But people's capacity is actually quite strong after the breakdown. Facing the reality that must be accepted, this kind of people will still return back to normal quickly. Ling Mo, who has been watching with cold eyes, right now have noticed Wang Cheng's eyes, and his heart could not help but to jump a little. This kind of eyes appeared in a seemingly modest student body. It could not help but to give people spine chills. Well, let's get out of here. In such a short time, 5 students have been sacrificed. Shauna just wasn't in a good mood, and now seeing them fighting among group, her tone suddenly becomes cold. Wang Chung suddenly woke up, looked at Shauna a little nervously, and then revealed a hint of faint smile. Let's go. Had just been almost killed, and be able to smile in the blink of an eye. This person's deep heart is not proportional to the age. Ling Mo secretly said in his heart, turned to grab Ye Lian and left quickly with Shauna and the rest from this commercial building, temporarily leaving this densely zombie-populated area. The rest of the route is relative much safer. They even found a supermarket to rest for a bit, searching some food on the way. If possible, it's best to find some food to reserve for dinner. Judging by the look, the supermarket within the city limits has gone through several lootings already. Normally, the most common weapons like knives, as well as the most important products food, have all been looted. Even though there are some left behind, they are often lying beneath the collapsed shelves or covered in disgusting blood, sometimes among the bones. But the surviving situations in the end of the world is originally cruel. It's already lucky enough to find food. Therefore, right after they entered the supermarket, these survivors immediately started searching. Ling Mo saw Shauna guarding the door, heart relaxed, then took Ye Lian to walk around in this fairly large-scale supermarket. The supermarket is filled with intense dead and rancid smell. Body remains can be seen all around. A lot of food that can be used as raw material, such as rice, all went bad in this environment and cannot be eaten. But even if you can find it, this group of people still cannot just set up fire and cook. After the increase of spiritual energy, Ling Mo felt that his own acuity has also gotten a lot higher. For example, under the same condition of vision, using the same observing technique, he was able to notice a lot of details that he would have missed before. To be more exact, even though he still does not care about these little details, but he could immediately remember these details as soon as they enter into his vision. This is why Ling Mo noticed Wang Cheng's eyes. Originally, he did not really pay attention to this seemingly ordinary survivor, and only casually glanced at him before. And at this time, while casually walking around the supermarket and did not find anything, Ling Mo vividly felt that something is wrong here, as if he has been secretly observed by someone. But looking around, how can it be anyone else? Ling Mo frowned, carefully observed the environment inside the supermarket. While entering the supermarket, Shauna and Liu Yu had already scouted once, and all the zombies have been taken care of. Logically, there should be no one else here besides them. But there are just way too many shelves. Ling Mo has limited vision. It is difficult to get a real look at all aspects of the supermarket. But just as he brought Ye Lian and walked to one of the shelves, suddenly the whole body went stiff for a bit, then immediately exposed a glimmer of ecstasy. From Ye Lian's instincts, there emerged a trace of strong desire of hostility. This means that within this supermarket, there must be a mutated zombie. But why feel it just now? Ling Mo's heart suddenly swarmed with a strong bad feeling. Helpa! Sure enough, a miserable howl of cry rang immediately, and Ling Mo at this time rushed toward the direction of the sound with Ye Lian. Of course, he was not going there to save the people, but to see the mutated zombie. After passing through several successive rows of shelves, An extremely bloody scene suddenly appeared before Ling Mo's eyes. In front of a half-open warehouse door, an arm snapped, intestines pulled out, but still twitching with eyes wide, open survivor, and a guy that is madly running toward Ling Mo. It was Liu Exen. Help! Help! No matter how much he resented Ling Mo during usual times, but at this moment, the terrified Liu Exen still rushed toward Ling Mo to look for help. Though Ling Mo contracted his pupil, did not take another look at Liu Exen, then directly outflanked past him while controlling Ye Lian. It's a very big guy following right behind Liu Exen, at least 1.8 meters in height, body full of fat. That pair of little red eyes exuded extremely crazy bloodthirsty light, but still have agile actions, and in the blink of an eye rushed behind Liu Exen. It slapped with his large hands at his like palm tree. Then Liu Exen screamed, who was sent flying by the slap at least a few meters away. OS. A large living person is directly slapped away right in front of his eyes. For Ling Mo, it is still quiet shocking. But such fast actions and tyrannical power. No wonder he could disarticulate the living in the blink of an eye. The situation is very clear at a glance. It's obvious that Liu Exen and that survivor who was on the verge of death carelessly opened the closed warehouse door, resulting in releasing the mutated zombie that was trapped inside. Opening the door indiscriminately in the end of the world, you are simply seeking death. But this is not the time to account for responsibilities, let alone that Ling Mo would like to thank these two idiots. These 2 days, Ye Lian has already been hungry and thirsty, and Ling Mo happened to reach the bottleneck. Maybe after Ye Lian evolves, he will also break through this level and become even stronger. Therefore, this terrifying zombie, in the eyes of Ling Mo, is not only not scary, but very friendly. But while the eyes are shining with light, Ling Mo vividly felt that this mutated zombie seems to be a little different than the ones he encountered before, seems to have a much stronger power. It doesn't matter if it's stronger, the key is to get rid of it as soon as possible. Liu Exen's scream simply rang through the entire supermarket. Soon Shana and Liu Yuhao will rush over, and thought by the time he killed the mutated zombie, it will not be possible to pull out the gel from the brain in front of everyone. Wouldn't it be all for nothing? And the mutated zombie saw the sudden appearance of Ling Mo and Ye Lian, also did not hesitate and rushed up. But what let Ling Mo's heart been stunned is that the attacking target is not him, but Ye Lian. Sure enough, compared to average zombies, mutated zombies target primarily their own kind, rather than ordinary people. How dare you attack Ye Lian? You are looking for your own death. Looking at the mutated zombie rushing directly toward Ye Lian, Ling Mo simply emerged in strong fury. He simply reduced the limit on Ye Lian to minimum, and allowed Ye Lian to have freedom to act. And he, on the other hand, pulled out a short knife, walking sideways near the mutated zombie. As soon as he has been liberated, the terrifying atmosphere from Ye Lian's body immediately surged. That pair of black eyes are full of undisguised fury and vigor. Affected by the connection spiritually, Ling Mo also felt the blood flow and his whole body speed up, with only that mutated zombie in his eye. Compared to the tyrannical power of this mutant, Ye Lian is lacking slightly in terms of power, but she wins in her compact, lightweight body and agility over small-scale maneuvers, and also has a slightly faster attacking speed than this mutated zombie. But the environment here is not very favorable. It is by the wall, and the other side is a shelf. This big fat mutated zombie only needed to wave one hand to cover almost completely the attack range that included Ye Lian and Ling Mo. This made Ling Mo, who carries a short knife, almost impossible to implement close combat options. For while even though Ye Lian is not in danger, but also does not have the upper hand, there's almost a faint trend where she's on the downside. This is because of the impact of Ling Mo's spiritual connection that made Ye Lian's attacking pattern not deathly like the mutated zombie. And mutated zombies are completely ruled by instincts. As long as you have a breath in, it will be impossible for him to stop attacking, and will never have the thought of defense exist. Although his body has already been cut on several places, he was not affected at all. After all, it's all thanks to this body of fat. One knife down will not even hurt the bones. And at this time, he can already hear the sound of Shana and the rest of them rushing over. Must speed up. Under the emergency circumstances, Ling Mo's heart also broke out a wave of vicious energy. He gave up the strategy of attacking on the side, but directly rushed to the front of the mutated zombie. As a result, even if the mutated zombie totally does not care of him, but have to attack him. But just as that mutated zombie's terrifying big hand is grabbing toward him, at the same time Ling Mo's eyes has become calm in an instant. At this life and death moment, Ling Mo relied on the willpower he had cultivated during this time, abruptly restrained his inner fear, and focused his full attention over the mutated zombie's spiritual light ball. An extremely uncomfortable feeling immediately swarmed Ling Mo's heart. His chest has become extremely uneasy, as if been stuffed with a mouthful of blood, while his head is also receiving wave of faint feelings. Controlling 2 mutated zombies at once is naturally a brand new challenge. Because mutated zombies are completely differently than average zombies, they have much stronger instincts. To control them will also compromise Ling Mo's own spirit. Especially it is during the process of attacking 2 mutated zombies. It's either I die or you die. With the surge of vicious energy, Ling Mo really did hold up. Within this short period of milliseconds, Ling Mo felt as if a day has passed. Even though, after feeling that he has completely controlled the body of mutated zombies, Ling Mo still wanted to laugh out loud. He did not expect that under this kind of situation, he would succeed. The growth of his spiritual strength really did allow the rapid growth of his own physical strength. But excitement is just excitement. Just as the mutated zombie been controlled, Ye Lian, who has already circled behind his back, already removing the gel inside his brain with lightning speed. With this monster-like corpse crashing down, Ling Mo has already took the gel from Ye Lian's hand, excitedly putting it inside his arms. As soon as the fighting is over, Ling Mo suddenly felt an empty head. A trace of warm fluid immediately flew out from his nose. At this time, Shauna and Liu Yu, who just rushed, just saw the scene of the body fell down. Ling Mo's nose is bursting with blood. "Are you alright?" Shauna anxiously asked, and Liu Yu is watching the scene, looking shocked. "It's alright. Nosebleed, this kind of small thing, is nothing, able to successfully control 2 zombies. This result to Ling Mo is a breakthrough. He could clearly feel that even though his own fighting ability did not evolve at the same time, but spiritual strength has broke through that thin layer of film. Not relying on Ye Lian to evolve, but obtained by using his own hard work and risking his own life. How could this achievement not make Ling Mo happy? Seeing Ling Mo is really without any serious injuries, Shauna turned her eyes to the 2 people on the ground. That person who has directly been disjointed is naturally dead, but unexpectedly Liu Xian was fortunate enough. He had a huge and terrifying wound on the back, but did not damage the internal organs. And when Liu Yu turned him over, he is actually conscious. Liu Xian uttered a sound of pain, but not many people are paying attention to him. No mind was paid to that scary-looking zombie corpse on the ground, or the guy who is still choking all is much more worthy paying attention to. Only Liu Yu quickly pulled out bandages and hemostatic agent, started to treat Liu Xian's wound, but while he was uttering painful noises, Liu Xian's pair of resentful eyes all secretly locked on Ling Mo. Why? Why not save him? Ling Mo could have more than saved him at that moment. Liu Xian's heart is filled with deep-seated hatred. But this mutated zombie's death, however, clearly tells Liu Xian that no matter how much hate he has, he does not dare to provoke Ling Mo. He is dying. Shauna walked beside the fellow who was mutilated, whispered, but he is still choking, breathing. Even that pair of darkened eyes revealed a hint of praying look. Even at this time, no one is willing to die like this. It's not difficult to tell from his look that he still wanted to live, still does not want to die, even in such a painful situation. But with the sudden flash of the blade across the eyes, that trace of light quickly dimmed down. Within the widened eyes, still have the afterimage of the shadow, where Shauna swung the knife. One of the girl immediately covered her mouth and screamed, and Ling Mo showed a hint of an approving look. Faced with the crowd's doubts, Shauna with sad eyes slowly withdrew the long knife. She whispered, "The longer we linger, the more we suffer. It's not difficult to be determined, but to act with toughness is not something an ordinary person can do. This is obviously a mutated zombie. You can actually get rid of it so quickly." Shauna then turned her looks to Ling Mo, said with a complicated expression. Ling Mo twitched his mouth, spoke as he wiped his nosebleed. "Don't look at me like that. I am also wounded." "Is he okay?" Shauna looked deeply at Ling Mo, then walked toward Liu Yu and Liu Xian and asked. At this time, Liu Yu is coming close to the end of the treatment. From his skilled movements, it is not difficult to see that he is skillful at his job. But from another perspective, he is simply a versatile nanny. Seeing that Ling Mo also come near, Liu Xian bit his mouth, lowering his head to not let Ling Mo seeing the vicious look in his eyes. The blood has been stopped. Although saying the words, Liu Xian's face obviously does not look ideal. It's just that it's not easy to speak some words directly right before Liu Xian. "Shauna, come over for a bit." After Liu Yu packed up first aid items and helped Liu Xian to the wall to sit down, they walked to Shauna and whispered. And Ling Mo, who was at the side, also heard it clearly. Not for him to speak, Shauna pulled him. "You come too." Although the movement is small, it is the equivalent of approving Ling Mo's dominant position in this small community and recognizing his strength. Most likely, from a moment she sees the corpse of the mutated zombie, this little girl also attained a thorough understanding of Ling Mo. Liu Yu brought them around to a rear shelf, then whispered in a lower voice. "Most likely Liu Xian will not make it." "I know." Shauna bit her lips and answered. And Ling Mo raised his eyebrow, unconsciously looked at Ye Lian that is beside him. The virus is contagious. The outbreak before may be caused by large-scale airborne transmission, but since the outbreak, there were no mutating survivors. But this is not difficult to understand, as viruses can evolve. This point is reflected most vividly from Ye Lian's changes. The current virus is most likely to be transmitted through the blood, and very few people could drag their injured body to escape after a zombie attack. Therefore, there are almost no zombies produced. Even if there are, no one will know. So right now, Liu Yu and the rest of them are facing a dilemma. Will Liu Xian mutate? Should we put him down now, or decide after a period of observation? If it were the limbs that were injured, it is still possible to get back the life after amputating it. But the wound is in the back. That mutated zombie's hand were also covered with blood plasma. There are probably viruses inside the nails. It is too late to deal with it. Of course, according to Ling Mo, it would be much easier to just cut it off. They still have to rush the third high school. They don't have any spare energy to take care of a wounded. They still need to expend energy to guard him. This is not only a nuisance, but also a time bomb. But this will have to be decided by Shana and Liu Yuhao. But Ling Mo is already planning in his heart secretly. If they decided to keep Liu Xian, he himself will definitely not continuing the trip with them. The place right now is not very far from the third high school. He will probably reach the destination much faster with Ye Lian. And by the time they can search for more mutated zombies to enable a faster process to allow Ye Lian regain her sanity. After all, even though he established some friendship with Shana and Liu Yuhao, but it's not deep enough to affect his judgment. Even his act of coming forward before was also in the case where Ling Mo is absolutely sure. Probably seeing Ling Mo's eyes not appearing friendly, Liu Yuhao lowered his lips softly, tentatively asking, "If we take him?" "Don't be stupid. How could we take him? Don't you see that no one is willing to come close to him?" Even though Shana is a girl, but she does have enough decisiveness, she bitterly smiled and said. Indeed, a moment before Liu Xian was constantly whining, "Ouch, ouch." But besides Liu Yuhao, who bandaged his wound, the rest of the people did not approach, but rather stood far away, for fear of contacting with him. Then what should we do? We can't kill him now, right? Right now, he is still a conscious living person. Give him some food, make him stay here. If he is still alive when we return, and not mutated, then we will take him. Shana quickly made a decision, and this is indeed a compromise. Sigh. Ling Mo secretly sighed in his heart. You went through the trouble, the other one might not appreciate it, and have to lose food, but this is much better than to bring the burden. Therefore, when Shana looked at himself, Ling Mo nodded without arguing. Sure enough, when Shana and Liu Yuhao told Liu Xian of his decision, his face turned extremely ugly in an instant. In addition to deep despair, his eyes also reflected extreme resentment. Liu Xian, who originally wanted to struggle, but after a look through the expression on the surrounding people, he instantly felt the cold from head to toe. No one disputes that, and no one cares about his life and death. Well, you are all good. After squeezing the word from his throats, Liu Xian took the food with a cold sneer, then stopped talking and closed his mouth. Even though his body is still constantly shaking, and lips tremble incessantly. Fear, hatred made Liu Xian's eyes look very complicated. Almost everyone does not dare to look at his eyes. I will take you to the office over there. Don't worry, we will come back for you. Liu Yuhao said, somewhat apologetically. At least leaving him at the office will not let those zombies who are attracted over by blood to be eaten. This is as humane as possible. Liu Xian just nodded indifferently. After Liu Yuhao helped him settle down and walked out after the closing door, everyone are still having silent looks. Compared to helping serious wounded to be relieved, this kind of abandoning friends is probably even more devastating, though only temporarily. But to be honest, Ling Mo does not have this kind of tangle in his heart. On one hand, he originally disliked Liu Xian. On the other hand, he didn't feel that Shana and the rest of them did anything wrong. On the contrary, Liu Xian is the one who wished everyone to sacrifice for himself. This is the real selfish attitude. But somehow, Ling Mo is vividly expecting something after being attacked by a zombie, especially wounded by mutated zombie. Will Liu Xian mutate? A break has lost another 2 of their companions. This casualty rate is simply very high. No one is willing to stay in this place anymore. All urge to leave quickly. Fortunately, Wang Cheng also found some food. Even though Liu Yuhao has spared some food to Liu Xian, it will be enough to last for today. The most important reason is that, right now, besides Ling Mo and Ye Lian and the temporarily abandoned Liu Xian, they only have 5 people left. 1 girl, glasses guy Wang Cheng, that boy who almost killed Wang Cheng, Shana, and Liu Yuhao. For some reason, Ling Mo always felt that with numerous companions dead, Wang Cheng's eyes looked very relaxed, even though his expression shows grief, but it just seemed contrived. Anyways, it's none of my business. These people do not have the courage, no combat skills, yet still value their lives more than anyone else, full of curved stomach intestines, implying they're always thinking about tricks, head full of calculations. But with 1 less person, their speed of going forward really declined. No need to deliberately take care of these people. They will naturally learn from Wang Cheng to follow closely with Shana and Liu Yuhao. This way, besides the increase in speed, there is also a greater increase in safety. Until seeing the buildings of the 3rd high school, there has not been a single casualty. There is the 3rd high school in front. Shana cut down the zombie in front of her as she turned her head. Even though they've gone through a lot today, but as they finally reached here, she also seemed a bit excited. But Ling Mo frowned slightly. From Ye Lian's strong conveyed message, it's not hard to guess that this school, within his expectation, really may have the potential of mutated zombies, maybe even more than 1. In order to survive in this kind of environment, the difficulty can be imagined. Most likely Shana and her people will come back empty-handed. But to Ling Mo's surprise, the gate is not packed with zombies like he thought, but shockingly empty. In addition to a few zombies that wandered over from elsewhere, there are no other threats. Seeing Ling Mo showing a puzzled expression, Liu Yuhao said in a whispered voice when the pandemic struck, a lot of people try to flee to outside, but people like us stayed until that chaos went away. Then we distributed a portion of people to go out to find a place to stay. There are quite a few zombies inside the school, but if we are careful enough, it should be no problem. After hearing him speak, Ling Mo immediately revealed a clear, understanding look. Since a lot of people tried to flee to outside, towards the zombies at the gate, they must have been attracted over. But like this boarding school, it is inevitable that there is a large internal zombie horde, which is obvious without Liu Yuhao's analysis. As for why those zombies were not willing to leave the school. In reality, in the absence of prey, zombies lingered in a wandering state, trapped in the school with only one door to the outside and numerous buildings present therein. Unless survivors appear and aggroed these zombies, otherwise they would have wandered down there always. But what if they are hungry? Kill each other. This is why Ling Mo is sure that there must be mutated zombies inside the school. Maybe there aren't any when Liu Yuhao and his people left, but many days have passed, and coupled with Ye Lian's reaction, it is enough for Ling Mo to confirm his guess. Wait, just as they arrived at the gate, Ling Mo stopped Shauna and the others. Our promise is getting to the front gate, so now let's separate. Shauna's expression immediately became somewhat complicated, and Liu Yuhao's eyes also expressed some dismay. Although time did not pass much, but Ling Mo did not only save them, but also fought alongside with them. It is inevitable that right now, they don't want to part ways. Thank you guys very much. Shauna gently bit her lip and said. Ling Mo looked at her, nodded his head. But maybe we will bump into each other because I have some business to take care of in this school. This made Shauna and Liu Yuhao somewhat surprised, but since Ling Mo did not seem to have the intention to elaborate, they did not really want to ask. When it came time to part ways, Liu Yuhao took some of the remaining food from the pack and handed it to Ling Mo. You guys take it. You guys had a tough on the way here. If it wasn't for the help by Ling Mo and Ye Lian, their group might be destroyed. At least that part of road to past the hospital would have been extremely difficult. But Ling Mo did not take the food, but smiled and shook his head, indicating that he does not need it. Liu Yuhao still wanted to push the food into him, but Wang Cheng quietly stopped him, smiled, and said, Big brother Ling is this skilled. How could he need our food? Right? Since he does not need it, then it will be fine. Seeing Ling Mo's strong attitude, Liu Yuhao could only give up. After both parties separated, Ling Mo immediately took Ye Lian, running forward to the educational building not far from the gate. With Shauna's skill, she should be fine to protect themselves in this familiar surrounding. Therefore, Ling Mo is not worried. Not to mention from their personalities, it is impossible for them to survive together. It's not difficult to hide Ye Lian's identity in a short time, but over time, it will be exposed for sure. As soon as they enter the educational building, they see the closed elevator doors, making Ling Mo immediately feel great joy. If it's this kind of closed state, there must be mutated zombies upstairs. Staircases, which are safe pathways, is not difficult to find. All it takes is to open that door not far away. But just as they arrived by the door, Ling Mo could felt Ye Lian's violent instincts, and at the same time, a dull sound also passed out from behind the door. Ling Mo's eyes immediately lit up. It seems that behind the door, there is a mutated zombie. Although mutated zombies have rapid attacks, they don't have intelligence after all, and do not know how to unscrew the door handle. And although this door and the wall that's connected together appear to have many gaps, but to instantly break it open still poses some difficulties. Ling Mo looked inside through the gaps, vaguely spotting that the mutated zombie is a middle-aged man, and besides him, there are no other mutated zombies. Only one is fine. Ling Mo's mouth revealed a hint of nasty grinning, grabbed the door handle at once, at the same time also raised the short knife in his hand, and Ye Lian also stood sideways to the door. Click sound. The door has just been opened. A super strong strength immediately hit up. Fortunately, Ling Mo is well prepared to directly dodge to the side. That mutated zombie rushed out instantly, but just as it showed its head, Ling Mo slashed down with his dagger. But this mutated zombie's reaction speed is amazingly fast. It actually grabbed Ling Mo's blade and thrust it towards itself. Ling Mo instantly lost his balance, and just as his steps are imbalanced, the mutated zombie's other hand also went to grab his chest. But at this critical moment, Ling Mo will not go down without a fight. He almost instantly controlled this mutated zombie. Although he soon reached the limit, he used this brief moment to snatch back his knife, and also used his powerful strength to poke the mutated zombie. At the same time, Ye Lian also extended her hand towards the arm of the mutated zombie, using to ring it down. However, this mutated zombie is indeed different, not only being faster at reaction, but resistant against control. During this life and death battle, it's impossible for Ling Mo to try a second attempt, but seeing the mutated zombie's one arm is being ringed down, and his own short knife is stabbing him, presumably the fighting will be over. However, to Ling Mo's complete surprise, the moment while this mutated zombie's arm was ringed down, he still shows resistance. He did not have the intention to dodge, but directly rushed over towards Ling Mo. At a distance this close, just hearing the sound of the knife cut into the flesh. While the mutated zombie was wounded by the critical point, he also approached Ling Mo. That hand, which is sharp like knife, hard as iron, also went to grasp Ling Mo's neck. At this critical moment, Ling Mo's expression still did not show panic, and Ye Lian acted instantly, grabbed his hand, then once again the sound of click. Fortunately, while the blood splattered out, Ling Mo has already pulled out the short knife and dodged to the side, or else he would have been sprayed to his entire face. Almost. Ling Mo now felt somewhat strength loosening. This mutated zombie, like the one previous in the supermarket, all have a higher combat ability. This is not hard to understand either. There are a lot more people within the urban district, presumably more zombies trapped with them. The more brain gel they get to eat, the higher the evolution process mutated zombies will experience, and also the stronger combat ability. After Ye Lian extracted the brain gel from this mutated zombie, Ling Mo immediately took it and compared it with the previous gel. These two gels all came from mutated zombies, but the color is different from the ones before. Much more bloody red, with a more pungent odor. This shows that the brain gels in these mutated zombies are much purer. The condensation out of the focus has changed along with it. It's obviously right to come to the main city center. Only in the densely populated zombie areas will have much stronger mutated zombies. After tucking away the gels, Ling Mo took Ye Lian to walk upstairs through the staircase. A closed building like this, there is definitely more than just one mutated zombies. And even though there is danger in hunting mutated zombies, but compared to the harvest, the risk is nothing. In the end of the world, people who did not dare to fight will for sure not live good days. This point, Ling Mo sees particularly clear. When Ye Lian was evolving, for sure there are other mutated zombies evolving as well, and nobody knows the final stage of these mutated zombies' evolution. But one thing is certain, the higher the degree of evolution, the more dangerous the mutated zombie's strength. If we don't improve and only seek stability, it will not only make us more vulnerable, but also drag down Ye Lian. You know, mutated zombies' priority targets are their own kind. And right now Ye Lian is under my control. Regardless of when she regains her consciousness, I must think for her sake. What does adventure count? Before meeting even stronger mutated zombies, we have to as much as possible to increase myself and Ye Lian's strength, which is the first priority. Factual evidence shows that Ling Mo's guesses are right. Several classrooms inside the science building were closed at the time of escape, and the zombies who were trapped inside only had the choice of killing each other. But to Ling Mo's surprise, in one of the classrooms on the second floor, there are no mutated zombies produced, but are clean dead. This is indeed an unexpected discovery. But after he carefully observed for a while, then find out why. It's not because there wasn't, but because that mutated zombie escaped through the broken windows. For a time, Ling Mo could not help but to worry about Shauna. In this situation, it means that at least more than one mutated zombie is wandering around the campus. It's highly possible they might encounter each other. With that chick's skill, it should be no problem, right? Ling Mo glanced outside the window. Through this window, he could see the avenue after the playground and the tall educational building not far away, and also could see several buildings that looked like dormitories. The third high school has taken a lot of ground, but right now looked desolate, dilapidated, with blood everywhere, and everywhere you can see slow, wandering zombies. But Shauna and Liu Yuhao are nowhere in sight. Shaking his head, Ling Mo then turned his attention back to the hunting. For nearly an hour, Ling Mo worked in the science building and the laboratory building in the back, killed 6 different mutated zombies. Right now, within his chest, there are now several gels, in addition to the 2 gels with darker color. The other 5 looked very polished. This assembly of such virus would shun normal people. But Ling Mo is holding these gels and delighted at heart. With these gels, for sure we are able to evolve again. By that time, maybe my body strength will also subsequently upgraded to a new level. Right now, Ling Mo's spiritual power has been evolved. He could even control 2 mutated zombies at once. Not to mention ordinary zombies, it will be no problem to control 4 at once. Most importantly, he could feel that while he was controlling Ye Lian, there was not more sense of that kind of estrangement, but felt as if Ye Lian is part of his body. As a result, the two coordinated much more naturally. But the drawback is that, even though Ling Mo's spiritual power was able to evolve, his physical strength did not get the same breakthrough. After a whole morning battle, even though he was not exhausted, he still felt somewhat powerless. If the body could also experience evolution, it would not be this bad. In fact, Ling Mo's physical strength is much more stronger than that of an average adult. But looking at Ye Lian, who is still breathing evenly, he still felt grouchy. Grabbing Ye Lian using one hand, and on the other hand also took some deep breaths for a while, Ling Mo finally felt that he regained some strength. But just as he got up, he took a closer glimpse of Ye Lian's neckline. Ye Lian is wearing a collared shirt in which he randomly found from one of the store. Probably because the movement is too big during the battle, the buttons on the shirt has collapsed, revealing a hit of deep ravine. The motion in which Ling Mo raised his head, his nose just stopped before the gully, suddenly feel dizzy by that shaking fair skin, abdomen instantly raised a flame. Staring at that deep gully for a long time, and he could not help but to go much closer, Ling Mo finally came back to his consciousness. Restraint. Restraint. Usually helping Ye Lian to dress and bath is something unavoidable. But to take advantage in this situation, Ling Mo does not want to do this to the girl he loves. Not to mention one look is considered fortunate enough. Helped Ye Lian with the buttons. Ling Mo then took Ye Lian to continue to the next destination. Since it took so much effort to come to this school, it's naturally that he will need to hunt more mutated zombies to acquire their brain gels. But Ling Mo did not notice is that, shortly after he walked away, A figure covered with blood suddenly appeared before the avenue. A pair of pernicious, but looked fully congested like eyes, stared strongly at the other end of the avenue, to those heavy piles of buildings. This man's upper body is heavily bandaged, but to one's dismay is that whenever the exposed skin were torn into pieces and bits, and through his nails, it's full of blood and flesh mixed mud. The most horrifying thing is that face. It's been scratched pliable, mouth opened slightly, revealing scarlet gums. A pair of bloodshot eyes could not be stared by people. Although completely changed appearance, almost out of human shape, but it's not hard to tell that this person is Liu Xian, who was left out at the supermarket by Shauna and those people. Giggle. After squeezing out a pole sneer horse sound from the throat, Liu Xian suddenly jumped forward, soon crossed the avenue, and rushed into the building complex. At this time, Ling Mo has just brought Ye Lian into that nearest educational building, but he doesn't know that just as soon as he stepped onto the second floors, less than 50 meters away from him, Liu Xian is just rushing by. What? Ling Mo suddenly felt a hint of longing from Ye Lian. But right after he showed a hint of smile, this building really has mutated zombies, While Ling Mo and Ye Lian is carefully searching for more mutated zombies inside the dormitory of the school, Shauna and the rest are also fighting one mutated zombie. And this mutated zombie is very tall, plus its face is not distorted like ordinary zombies. Therefore, even though its face is bloody and mauled, but one still could see that it was a good-looking young woman. But as it gave a muted, muffled roar, its sense of beauty was completely lost as it forced Shauna and the rest back. Shauna somewhat resisted the female, mutated zombie's madness attack. From her movements, her arm was apparently strained, and right now completely relying on her own willpower, struggling to fight back. And not far behind her, there lies another mutated zombie's corpse. As for Liu Yuhao, he is looking dispirited, although he is still beside Shauna, and from time to time helping her with some pressure, but it's obvious that he is almost at his limit. And among the three of them, there are only two people left. One of them is Wang Cheng. The other one is the boy who almost killed Wang Cheng. But from their expression, they all seem to be in great shock. In fact, they really did encounter a huge psychological impact. After they part ways with Ling Mo, they went straight to this dormitory building. Before they left, the rest of the teachers and students stayed in this dormitory, and before Shauna and Liu Yuhao left, they moved all the food from the school's supermarket to here. These rations will not last very long, but a large group of people staying here is not a long-term plan either. So a portion of people leaving to find other ways is necessary. The best results would of course be finding rescue personnel, such as military. The worst result will be finding a safe house, avoiding starving themselves to death. However, those willing to follow Shauna all did not have true heart in contributing to this group, but simply thought that it would be much safer by following Shauna. To put it more bluntly, they didn't believe that Shauna will come back. In fact, Shauna actually did not fully comply with the agreement. Last time she returned a few days later than the promised time. This is although without choice. In order to break out, many students who could fight were all dead, the rest are cumbersome. To rely on Shauna and Liu Yuhao alone to hold off the zombie is impossible to immediately rush back, let alone safely pick up the rest of those people. Even so, Shauna did not give up, so when she did find out that Ling Mo is indeed very powerful and took her home's good, she could not help but ask for help. But as Ling Mo expected, from the moment when they stepped into the school, Shauna had been well prepared. Maybe those people are already dead. The things that she never even thought of appear right before her is that kind of horrible scene. Originally a dorm with 20 people, besides 7 or 8 living people, the rest of them all been grazed into bone shells. Shauna did not see much more bloody scene than this, but this scene of cannibalism really let her feel disgusting deep from her heart, and also with deep coldness along with deep chill. And Liu Yuhao and the rest of them, all were completely shocked. The two of them even threw up on the scene. Zombies eat people, we can still call them monsters, but the people right before all are ordinary conscious thinking humans. They would rather kill their comrades, eat their flesh, instead to venture out in search of food. The most disgusting thing is that, when seeing the appearance of Shauna and her people, they even happily rushed up. When the closest middle-aged teacher rushed up to Shauna with a smile, she almost unconsciously swung the long knife in her hand. Cuckoo! Blood splattered from the middle-aged teacher's neck, and he covered his neck, eyes revealing the unbelievable look, stared at Shauna's pale face, and slowly fell down. The others went dull for a moment, and Shauna did not hesitate to turn back and leave here. The moment when she turned her head back, she suddenly remembered the words said by Ling Mo, moth. Before she had figured Ling Mo as somewhat a cold-blooded, ruthless person, but right at this moment, she suddenly also emerged a strong sense of revulsion to these moths. Strength of the weak, the need for protection, this is not a sin. But complacency, and even adapting this kind of behavior as a matter of course, these kind of people is not less harmful compared to those zombies. The only way to deal with these scum is to let them fend for themselves. The moment when Shauna left, Liu Yuhao and the rest of the people, although were still in a moment of shock, also emerged deep sense of disgust and fear to these cannibalistic madmen. They all turned around at the same time to keep up with Shauna. But Shauna only wanted to put down the cannibals, but did not know that after killing one, the rest went mad. That be, we waited so long for her. She actually, kill her. Strong resentment swept through the mind of these people. An impulse is contagious like the virus and made them completely lose their last vestiges of reasons. They frantically rushed out, rushed on Shauna. What happened next in the dormitory corridor is a brutal massacre. From a moment when they rushed over, Shauna's psychological defense also completely collapsed. She is almost unconsciously engaged in resistance and slashing. Even she did not notice herself that when she showed off unmatched strength, a number of people who woke up immediately turned around to run away. But she did not let them escape, but rushed forward with a strange smile on her face, and surgically one by one cut them down by the sword. At that time in Shauna's mind, there's only one thought, and that is these people deserve to die. These kinds of people do not deserve to live in this world. Until the sudden appearance of two mutated zombies, drawn to the chaos, finally pulled Shauna back from this tranquil fury. Obviously, these two mutated zombies were attracted over by the strong smell of blood, and with Shauna's dwindling strength, it is impossible to deal with two mutated zombies at once. Shauna finally managed to cut down one of the mutated zombie using the environmental hazards, yet the other mutated zombie rushed over. And right now, within this dormitory building, in addition to the 7 or 8 fresh corpses, only Shauna and her group remain alive. That female student zombie already was torn to pieces when the mutated zombies appeared. Right now, its corpse is not even complete. If Shauna had not promptly regained her senses, it is most likely that Liu Yuhao and the rest of them will also suffer. With Liu Yuhao's battle strengths, he could only protect these people to not be harmed by those crazy people. But to fight against mutated zombies is still impossible. Killing the first mutated zombie has already consumed too much of Shauna's physical strength. Plus, having encountered that turn of events resulted in making Shauna's mind very tired. Therefore, while she is battling this female mutated zombie, she is completely at a disadvantage. This female mutated zombie is also not biting its teeth on Shauna entirely. Once the opportunity arises, she will also attack others. And within this process, Wang Cheng and the other boy will fall into danger from time to time. But they just not dare to leave too far, fear of being attacked by other zombies. Looking at that mutated female zombie, Wang Cheng's eyes shimmering. Finally, at the moment when Shauna was driven back, he quietly lifted up his leg and gave a quick kick on a dead cannibal boy's body. At the same time when the scream came, the corpse was also pushed between Shauna and that mutated female zombie. Poof! The female mutated zombie's hand poked directly through the boy's abdomen, and Shauna also seized this gap, used her knife, and dug into the heart of the mutated zombie. Oh! With a sigh of relief at the same time, Wang Cheng's eyes also flashed with a hint of vicious color. Looking at that belly with an extra big hole, eyes wide open but not the slightest alive boy, Wang Cheng felt a deep pleasure of revenge. But at the same time, he suddenly felt tingling against his scalp. As he looked up, Shauna is looking at him indifferently. And with the contact of Shauna's eyes, Wang Cheng's heart immediately jumped. Shut up. Shauna waved, interrupted him. Although she was driven back from a moment before, she had seen clearly that this boy would not have rushed forward voluntarily. But if it wasn't for him, it was most likely the rest of the 3 of them would die here. Although Wang Cheng's move is selfish and vicious, she just does not want to say anything about it. Perhaps in some ways, he has done nothing wrong. If Ling Mo is here, maybe he will even appreciate this move, right? But even if he is really here, he would have likely finished off these 2 mutated zombies without using the boy. Shauna felt chaotic thoughts stirring in her mind as she joined Liu Yuhao and Wang Cheng and walked slowly downstairs. But in the absence of awareness, she did not notice a human figure staring at her intently from the dark corner. That Ling is not here. Where did he go? But oh well, first I'll get rid of you guys, then it will not be late to. The instant when Shauna stepped down the stairs, that dark shadow rushed out. Shauna only felt an enormous force came from the back. Her whole body was blown flying in an instant from the corner and collapsed at the bottom of the stairs. She felt as if her body is breaking apart, but only her hardened combat endurance was enough to stop her from blacking out. As she struggled to get up, a bloody silhouette appeared in front of her. Shauna, you did not expect to see me this soon, right? Liu Exin sneered wickedly as he grit his teeth in attack, landing a devastating blow on the back of Shauna's head, knocking her out for good. Triumphant, he hauled the unconscious Shauna over his shoulder. Liu Yuhao, who was still standing above the stairs, was horrified by the scene before him. But the moment when Shauna was hit, he jumped to action and frantically rushed over to help. But even though Liu Xian is carrying a person, he is still far more agile than an exhausted Liu Yuhao. After escaping from Liu Yuhao, he pointed his middle finger at him with disdain and taunted, I am at the boys' dormitory. Call Ling Mo for me, or else I will kill Shauna. Liu Xian, you son of a b. Liu Yuhao loudly cursed at Liu Xian, who was nonchalantly hauling Shauna's unconscious body away. But with his speed, he could only watch him exit. But just as he got up to chase after him, Wang Cheng rushed over and grabbed his arm. Don't go over there. You're looking for certain death. Didn't you see Liu Xian's appearance? He must have mutated, no longer a human being. Mother! Liu Yuhao cursed under his breath, but reluctantly stopped chasing. He knew in his heart that Wang Cheng is right. From Liu Xian's demonstration of strength and speed, he is absolutely no longer a human being. Even if he is not yet a zombie, he is rapidly mutating towards becoming one. Even if Liu Xian will not kill Shauna before Ling Mo shows up, when he loses his sanity after the mutation completes, Shauna will be dead for sure. But with only him and Wang Cheng, how could they beat the current Liu Xian? Big brother Lin, where's Ling Mo? Liu Yuhao anxiously looked around the surroundings. Inside the empty campus, in addition to the zombie corpses beheaded by Shauna, there are no other people. Instead, a few zombies appeared not far away, as they were attracted over by the noise and smell of blood. The moment when the zombies saw him and Wang Cheng, they immediately rushed towards the survivors. Damn! In this situation, the only option is to run, and while running, Liu Yuhao is also yelling Ling Mo's name in his heart. After separating, Ling Mo did say that he still had some business to take care of at this school, but Liu Yuhao does not know if he has already left. If Ling Mo really has left, most likely he could only risk his life to go save Shauna. Right now, in Liu Yuhao's heart, there are 1,000,000 thoughts rushing past. Should have just killed Liu Xian earlier. How could he let Shauna be in danger? That treacherous worm. But no matter how much he cursed will not bring back Shauna. Liu Yuhao brought Wang Cheng and dived into the educational building and finally escaped from those few zombies. These two hid inside one of the classrooms, not even daring to breathe. Whole body is thoroughly soaked by sweat. Finally, after the surroundings quieted down, Liu Yuhao carefully extended his head to look out, and seeing that the corridor is empty, waved at Wang Cheng to come out from the classroom. What to do now? Even though Wang Cheng desperately kept up with Liu Yuhao, he is still in shock, voices trembling. Liu Yuhao bit his tongue and answered, "What else to do? Find Ling Mo. Must save Shauna at all cost." Wang Cheng clearly does not want to continue to follow with Liu Yuhao on this hopeless quest, but right now Liu Yuhao is his only teammate. Therefore, he began to wonder how to convince Liu Yuhao out of it. But unexpected of both him and Liu Yuhao is that, when they carefully climbed the staircase, they unexpectedly encountered Ling Mo and Ye Lian walking downstairs. What? The sudden appearance of two people. Ling Mo at first was surprised, then relaxed, then surprised again and barked. "Why are you guys here? There are nobody else besides zombies in this building, and it is not a suitable house as a safe place. The people which Shauna are looking for are definitely not here." Therefore, how could he encounter Liu Yuhao and Wang Cheng? But not waiting for Liu Yuhao to answer, Ling Mo immediately noticed something is amiss. From these two's expression, they have clearly emerged from fierce fighting, and appear to be removed from the others, or else should have seen Shauna with the two. "Where is Shauna?" Ling Mo said with a sinking feeling of dread in his heart. Liu Yuhao was still stunned at meeting Ling Mo so quickly, but hearing his question, he reacted immediately, anxiously replying, "Please save Shauna. She was taken by Liu Xian." He rushed up 3 steps before Ling Mo grabbed his arm, eyes filled with panic and fear, staring intensely at him. "Taken? By Liu Xian?" The news came too sudden. Ling Mo is having a hard time digesting the information. Yes, Liu Xian mutated, but not completely turned into a zombie, but far too powerful for me to fight against him. Shauna has been caught and kidnapped. He said to ask you to find him, or else he will kill Shauna. Big brother Ling, I beg you. Liu Yuhao was at the verge of tears at this point, his words incoherent, but still managing to express the meaning. During the process, he has been clinging tightly to Ling Mo's arm, in fear that Ling Mo would refuse. And as Ling Mo heard it, his face also suddenly became gloomy. This Liu Xian, besides of a brain thinking nothing good, was also not expected to be this ruthless. Ling Mo was not surprised that Liu Xian appeared to be mutated, but he was unexpectedly still sane, having taken Shauna as hostage while taunting the survivors. Ling Mo suddenly become engrossed at Liu Xian's consciousness, as his greatest wish is to let Ye Lian be able to regain sanity as soon as possible. But aside from the last evolution, after Ye Lian has showed little signs of self-consciousness, there was no further signs of progression down that line. Ling Mo was obviously frustrated, as this is not a problem to be solved overnight, but he still immediately embarked on hunting mutated zombies, hoping to accelerate the evolution process in order to enable her to regain sanity sooner. But the strangeness from Liu Xian's body let Ling Mo think that he could probably find some new clues from this Liu Xian. Even if there is little possibility of success, Ling Mo still wants to find and confront Liu Xian, not to mention that he still has Shauna. And to top it all off, this idiot even threatened him by his own name. To Ling Mo, one mutated zombie does not pose great threat. Liu Xian thought that his turn from a mouse into a sick cat will allow him to take revenge on Ling Mo. He's really not. Big brother Ling, I beg you, Shauna and I accumulated some friendship along fighting side by side. I beg you. Liu Yuhao repeatedly pleaded, looking increasingly anxious. Where are they? Ling Mo made up his mind, then asked. Liu Yuhao is suddenly overjoyed and immediately dragged Ling Mo to run downstairs. They're in the boys' dormitory. Hurry, I am afraid that Liu Xian will lose his sanity immediately. By that time Shauna will really be dead. Indeed, let's do it. Ling Mo felt his scalp tighten at his resolve, picking up his feet to move out. And Ye Lian, who is still under his control, followed up. Liu Yuhao is eager to save these people. Despite his exhaustion, he was still keeping up with Ling Mo and Ye Lian, who ran just ahead. On the other hand, Wang Cheng is already panting like a dog on a hot summer day. If it wasn't for trying to save himself, most likely he would already be on the ground. Too bad that the others in front of him have no intention to stop and wait. Therefore, when Wang Cheng looked to the back of those three people shadows, his eyes betrayed his frustration, but soon he covered this emotion. On the road leading to the dorm, there also appeared several zombies, all attracted over by the fresh corpses on the floor. Ling Mo observed that while these were indeed ordinary, non-mutant zombies who do not attack their own kind, they still will eat other zombie corpses. These few zombies that appeared before the boys' dormitory are currently having a feast on the few zombie corpses on the floor, whose blood-red eyes all but confirmed that they once belonged to zombies, not humans. Ling Mo could not dare to believe that he is seeing such a scene unfolding in front of him. This is why. But in this case, won't there be more mutated zombies? Even the whole zombie population will slowly evolve and become even stronger as time passes. Although their speed of evolution is far slower than mutated zombies who emerge through killing each other, the overall slow evolutionary advantage within the ordinary zombies will gradually be reflected. FML. Ling Mo secretly swore in his heart, at the same time waving his blade and charging against the few zombies that noticed him. Relying on the zombie puppet control ability and his own battle-hardened combat skills, these few zombies stood no match against himself and Ye Lian. It's certain that these fresh zombie corpses will also attract even more zombies to be eaten. But as a survivor himself, he does not have the time and energy to cleanly dispose of the corpses. The whole zombie evolutionary process is simply unstoppable. Who knew that zombies also eat zombies? Ling Mo frowned while looking up again at the picked clean corpses. Liu Yuhao looked up at Ling Mo with some doubt, and quietly replied, "Of course they eat. Big brother Ling, you didn't know?" Ling Mo reluctantly held his mouth shut. Liu Yuhao and his people have been living closely with ordinary zombies, so they obviously were aware of this, but Ling Mo lived far away from zombies and controlled zombie puppets while searching for food. Even if they killed zombies, he will not run back to purposefully check up on the bodies. There was no way Ling Mo could have known. But this again proved his conjecture is right. The only way to challenge increasingly difficult foes would be to keep training his own strength. After killing these few zombies, Ling Mo and others finally enter the boys' dormitory. The narrow dormitory corridor is nothing short of hellish, with dark brown blood plastered all over the walls and floor. And some of the dormitory doors were held ajar, heightening the anxiety felt by the group, as if a zombie would burst out from the door like in a horror movie. This dormitory has 5 floors. A rough estimate by Ling Mo suggests hundreds of suites. Presumably trying to find Liu Xian and Shana will not be an easy task. But Ling Mo is not worried about searching every room, because he immediately turned his head toward a trail of blood on the floor. He extended his hand and lightly touched the blood and asked, "Liu Xian's wounds is opened, or is Shana wounded?" It was also there on the steps. I saw fresh blood on the road, but because there's zombies' corpses close by, so I'm not too sure about where it came from. But there is nothing else that could have recently bled around here. This blood must have been left by one of them. "It's Liu Xian," Liu Yuhao hurriedly replied. "When I last saw him, he was covered with blood, but I don't know why. As long as it's not Shana's." Ling Mo nodded thoughtfully, looking down the direction of the bloodstains. These blood spots were very faint and almost indistinguishable from the brown bloody ground. It would be difficult to discover by ordinary people. If it wasn't for Ling Mo's sharp observation, he would have not noticed it neither. But most likely Liu Xian did not intend to hide his traces. Just as Ling Mo brought Liu Yuhao and others walked on the 3rd floor along the bloodstains, they saw Liu Xian in the corridor. But they were not expecting to see him like this. In a time frame of no less than 2 hours, Liu Xian's appearance became utterly unbearable to look at. Before, his appearance was somewhat repulsive, but right now he was downright horrifying. The skin on his body has not only been scratched to a pulpy mush, it has already begun to fester, the turbid pus and blood dripping down his stained trousers. The thought that he just used his hand to touch blood dropping from something like that. Ling Mo immediately wanted to wash his hand. But that pair of bloodshot eyes reveals the same look as before, arrogant and disgusting. "Liu Xin, where is Shana?" As soon as Liu Yuhao looked at Liu Xian, he became agitated. If it wasn't for Ling Mo holding him back, he would have already rushed up to fight this menace. But Ling Mo felt that Liu Xian's current appearance is frighteningly abnormal. He does not seem to be turning into a zombie, but more like little by little, rotting. Yes, rotting it is. His eyes, his change of power all seem like zombie, but his body was somehow not changing like a zombie. Could it be because it was overloaded with mutated zombies' virus and not be able to take it? Compared to ordinary zombies, the virus emitted by mutated zombies are much purer. Of course, the toxicity is much stronger. Liu Xian's change all but proves that ordinary people infected by zombie virus and did not die immediately will turn into zombies. But if a survivor was directly infected by mutated zombies and suddenly exposed to a high-purity virus, the body is literally unable to keep itself together. Have you seen enough? Don't you think my appearance is too repulsive for you? Liu Xian gazed at Ling Mo and the others viciously and madly snarled. "Ling Mo, look at what you've done. If you didn't abandon me for dead, I would not have turned into this." With a look of malice in his eyes, he reached to grasp the skin on his face. A patch of skin and rotten flesh immediately fell down and made a sickening plop on the floor, sending shivers down the spines of all the survivors. "See? This is all your fault, traitor. At that time you could have saved me first. But you were too selfish. Do you really think that all 4 ocean are your mother? Meaning you really thought that everyone is your mother? I did not bother save you because you were a lost cause. Right now, I am here for Shauna. Where is she? Ling Mo gave a cold gaze and asked sharply. Liu Xin cackled in response. Shauna, you want to see her so badly? Fine. Give me your hand which you used to slap me. And that is the hand you will cut off. Hearing this, Ling Mo suddenly could not help but to roll his eyes in contempt. This Liu Xin is really an idiot. First of all, not to mention that his relationship with Shauna is not deep enough to cut a hand for her. But just his remarks is laughable. This kid must have seen too much movies. He really thought that with his little strength now, he can challenge the heavens themselves. However, overwhelmed by the chaos, Liu Yuhao immediately looked at Ling Mo with a frightened look, then turned to Liu Xin and shouted, Liu Xin, how could you do this? If it wasn't for Big Brother Ling, we would have been all dead. I don't give a rat's about your business. Liu Xin fiercely spit out a mouthful of bloody spit. If it wasn't for you and Shauna that is looking for trouble at this accursed school, and let this Ling joining us, and even finding these people by going back to school, how could things turn out to be like this? Don't think that I don't hate you people. It was you guys that left me there. Liu Yuhao is mortified, but he clenched his teeth, then actually raised the kitchen knife in his hand. How about cutting mine? He said as he brandished his knife, but was stopped by Ling Mo, who was rushing at lightning speed towards Liu Xin. Both parties now faced each other no more than 10 meters apart. With Ling Mo's speed, this close distance is a distance of less than one breath. He directly rushed at Liu Xin. Liu Xin only saw a dark shadow brush past himself, then felt a flash of cold steel before his eyes. Liu Xion's mutant reflexes were fast enough for him to actually turn his head to the side to see that his right shoulder was directly slashed open. His entire body suddenly felt like it was being crushed by an enormous pressure that made his knees go soft, almost directly collapsing on the ground. Ling Mo slashed directly on Liu Xion's shoulder, but did not have the intention to stop. Instead, he smoothly cross-cut the knife straight up, directly going for Liu Xion's throat. A strong shadow of death instantly enveloped Liu Xin, but driven by instincts, he still backed up a step, barely escaping this fatal blow. But the tip of the blade has already pierced an artery, blood gushing out from the wound. Liu Xion's eyes become even redder. He screamed after reacting to his wound. Refusing to fall and die, he rushed directly towards Ling Mo in a desperate counterattack. But after all, he is still an ordinary human being. How could he compare to Ling Mo, who has eviscerated several mutant zombies, each far more powerful than the rotting living corpse of Liu Xian? Capitalizing on his still-standing posture, Ling Mo thrust the knife forward the instant Liu Xian started to charge, piercing his bloated abdomen and forcing him down into the ground. The sharp blade opened a big wound on Liu Xian's belly. Just as Liu Xian was pinned into the ground, Ling Mo stomped on his chest, staring down at the abomination, and taunted, "Looks like you don't feel pain anymore." Liu Xian's body was on the verge of falling apart at the seams. The skin on his whole body is all peeling off, revealing the grotesque layers of putrid muscle and fat underneath, coupled with the 2 deep gashes inflicted by Ling Mo. Nonetheless, Liu Xian still does not show off any painful expression. He obviously was not some hardcore guy before his mutation. The only explanation is that he no longer feels any pain. Liu Xian looked at Ling Mo, biting his teeth. Even though he cannot feel the pain of his intestines flowing out of his open abdomen, Liu Xian knew that he did not have much longer to live. Kidnapping Shauna and daring to threaten her right in front of me? You should know your own strength. Ling Mo spitefully spat out those words. Oh, you think I'm stupid? Liu Xian's eyes suddenly become clouded and started to laugh madly. You really think I'm stupid? I knew that I was a dead man long before you showed up, but I will not let you guys off easily. Even though I did not get to kill you, I will still triumph in the end. Ha 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 ha. Didn't you guys abandon me and let me suffer? I will let you vermin have a taste of your own medicine. What kind of expression would you guys have? At the same while he was laughing hysterically, his mouth was still ejecting blood. Coupled with the froth emerging from his lips, he has lost all semblance of his dwindling humanity. But Ling Mo has had enough of this madman's ravings. He chopped down Liu Xian's neck in one swing, in one final splattering of blood, ending his strident laughter. Liu Xian's head rolled several times on the floor before coming to a final halt, his face still contorted in that demented composure. Ling Mo looked back at the doors in the dormitory hall. Shauna should be in one of the dorms, but for some reason, Ling Mo's heart started to get a little uneasy, Liu Xian's final words still ominously ringing in his ears. Liu Yuhao did not think that much of his words. Seeing that Ling Mo terminated Liu Xian using 2 or 3 swings, he immediately rushed into the hall and madly started to search within the dormitory for Shauna. And Wang Cheng followed, over frowning. After glancing at Liu Xian's headless corpse with a calamitous expression, he also started to search following Liu Yuhao. But this survivor also has some little tricks under his sleeves. He seemed to care a lot for Shauna's safety, but in fact he's following tightly after Liu Yuhao and does not even go near those dormitory doors. Under the emergency circumstances, most people will not notice his little movements. Ling Mo also started to search along the corridor with Ye Lian, but the dorms he passed by are almost all completely empty, without a trace of anyone. But not soon after Lu Yuhao's anxious voice came from one of the dorm. She is here. Shauna isn't here. Ling Mo's heart tightened up, hurriedly rushed over. As soon as he reached the door, he saw that Shauna's limbs had been tied to the bedpost by what seemed like a clothing rope, and her head was lowered, still appearing human. But thinking back to what Lu Xian said, Ling Mo knew that something must have happened to Shauna's body. Shauna, are you all right? As Lu Yuhao gingerly released Shauna's restrictions, Ling Mo instantly saw her palm, suddenly feeling his heart become cold. He immediately grabbed Shauna's left palm, and Lu Yuhao also turned his puzzled look over. Wang Cheng, who was beside them, also saw what has happened. Not a single word was traded between any of the survivors, but aside from the emotionless Ye Lian, absolute horror and disgust were plastered all over each of their faces. Ling Mo was first to break the silence. Looking at the pale-faced Shauna, he cursed in a low voice and biting his teeth. Lu Xian, you are really not a human being. On Shauna's left hand, a fresh deep wound is the first thing they saw. But the putrid blood and flesh surrounding the wound all but confirmed that after Lu Xian cut open Shauna's left hand, he grasped the gash in order to infect her with the mutant zombie virus. And among everyone's horrified look, Shauna slowly raised her head, and that pair of usually determined and energetic eyes, right now, is full of despair. It's too late. The long silence presses people breathless. Shauna's words, and her lifeless eyes, all made Ling Mo's heart suddenly sank to the bottom, along with his mood becoming very heavy. I'd rather die than become a zombie, Shauna whispered with some trance, as she slowly stood up leaning on the bed. And Lu Yuhao was just staring at her, apparently also caught in extreme shock. When she was unconscious, Shauna's long knife had been left in place, but soon she turned to Lu Yuhao, eyes suddenly flashed a determined color, suddenly reached out to Lu Yuhao's hands to seize the kitchen knife. She would rather end it herself than suffer through the agony of turning into a zombie. But as soon as she moved, Ling Mo also suddenly came back to his senses, immediately grabbed back the kitchen knife with lightning speed. Shauna at this time is also very exhausted, simply could not withstand Ling Mo. I don't want to turn into a zombie. I do not want to become that kind of monster. Shauna's eyes become lax again as she rambled on and on. She jostled Ling Mo like crazy and tried to reach out again to grab the knife from Ling Mo's hands. But Ling Mo has already thrown the knife to the ground viciously. One hand caught Shauna's shoulder and said fiercely, "Do not do anything stupid. You still have not changed, right? There must be a way. Give me the knife. Give me the knife." However, Shauna could not listen to any of Ling Mo's words, instead cried hysterically. Ling Mo, who was without a choice but to extend his hand and pat it on Shauna's head, then caught her limp body into the arms. Infected, Shauna. At this time, Lu Yuhao stood up trembling, looked incredulously at Shauna, who was collapsed in the arms of Ling Mo, could not even say a full sentence. Even Wang Cheng is looking pastel-colored. Without Shauna, the possibility for him to go back to his moth life is almost impossible. Will Shauna become something like that, Lu Xian? Lu Yuhao suddenly turned to Ling Mo, asked in a low and worried voice. Indeed, Lu Xian's appearance is even more horrifying than zombies. If anyone really becomes like that, not to mention Shauna, even Ling Mo could not accept it. Looking at Lu Yuhao's eyes that is on the verge of collapse, Ling Mo sighed in his heart and slowly said, "Calm down. Shauna is the one who is suffering the most. Don't you want to think of a solution for her?" Solution? After hearing Ling Mo saying this, Lu Yuhao suddenly woke up a bit, but the tears are streaming down involuntarily. What kind of solutions? According to Lu Xian's situation, coupled with the time between our separation, we can roughly estimate that the time from being infected to onset of symptoms is about half an hour. Therefore, we should find some solutions within this half an hour. Trying is better than sit and wait for death. Compared to Lu Yuhao, who is on the verge of nervous breakdown, Ling Mo is much more calm. The most important reason is that because right next to Ling Mo, there's a mutated zombie, Ye Lian. Therefore, from Ling Mo's opinion, there's still hope if turning into a zombie, but if the body is rotting like Lu Xian, then there really is no way. How about cut her hand? Lu Yuhao's eyes suddenly flashed with a hard color and proposed. Ling Mo shook his head. Useless. It has been far too long since she's been infected. Then what else can we do? Lu Yuhao's face grew dark again. But Ling Mo's mind has immediately began to wonder again. Lu Xian was infected directly by a mutated zombie, under the circumstance where the body could not withstand the intensity of the virus that led to it falling apart. Shauna, here should be a case of secondary infection. The infected virus should have been diluted through Lu Xian's body. But even so, it should still have a much higher concentration than the virus in ordinary zombies. With Shauna's physical strength, is her body able to withstand it and hold itself together? The answer is unknown. Ling Mo looked down to Shauna, who was in his arms. His heart also could not bear the thought of her turning into another Lu Xian. He knew that the words he just said were merely for comfort. In fact, he also does not know how to prevent Shauna's mutation. In reality, he knows that it's guaranteed that Shauna will, for sure, mutate. The only outcome still in the air is whether she will turn into a normal zombie or an abomination like Lu Xian. While Ling Mo is still debating back and forth, Shauna has slowly woken up, but in the semi-conscious state between human and zombie, seemed to be deeply drawn by something and leaped into Ling Mo's arms. Ling Mo's heart jumped and quickly looked down at Shauna. and saw that he still underestimated the extent of the virus infection. Shauna's eyes is half open. A touch of carnage is clearly visible. She has begun the mutation. Most likely only about 20 minutes has passed since Ye Lian used his own blood to infect her to the appearance of the mutation symptoms. Ye Lian also realized Shauna's abnormality. He immediately reached out to pull her arm. "Shauna, how are you?" But Shauna did not respond to him and was still tightly affixed to Ling Mo's chest. The other hand is even directly going to grab something. Ling Mo's scalp suddenly feels numb. He immediately pushed away Shauna, but his shirt has already been torn a hole. And Shauna, who was pushed away, has completely her eyes, now an upsetting red color, again rushed over, her mouth vaguely forming the words, "Give me." Ling Mo had no idea what Shauna had wanted him to give her, and can only hold her in place as he tried to piece together what she meant. And it was in this short 10th seconds, Ling Mo realized what she really wants. Brain gel. Shauna wants the brain gel hidden in his chest. Shauna. Liu Hao was stunned by Shauna's movements, and Ling Mo quickly grabbed Shauna's arm, pressed her to the side of the bed, and put himself between her and Liu Hao and Wang Cheng's eyes. He quickly took out one gel that is of the lowest purity into Shauna's mouth. Woo-woo. Different from Ye Lian, the current Shauna still has some sanity. It's just that under the domination of instincts there emerged a mad desire for the gel. Now that she has swallowed the gel, she has immediately calmed down, spread her arms lying in bed, a pair of glowing red eyes looking at Ling Mo in a daze. "How is she?" Liu Hao nervously came around, but saw Shauna's pair of inhuman eyes. Suddenly his heart thumped and could not even stand properly. And Ling Mo is also nervously watching Shauna, paying attention to her reaction. He knew what he has just done was a reckless, and perhaps even harmful action. If it wasn't for that Shauna had a strong desire for the gel, Ling Mo could not even have thought about this. Fight fire with fire? What if it accelerates Shauna's mutation process? This kind of thing is not absolutely certain. He would have never dared to try on his own. But since Shauna was full of desire to the gel, and this deep desire came from her own instinct, this means that the gel must be good to her. Maybe it might be able to neutralize toxins in the body and return her to normal. As soon as the idea appeared, Ling Mo's mood immediately became excited. After anxiously waiting for what seemed like an eternity, Shauna still just stared blankly at Ling Mo without any response. Fortunately, excluding her blood-red eyes, Shauna did not appear zombie-like, nor did her body start rotting like Liu Lian, which makes Ling Mo finally feeling a little relieved. "There is nothing else we can do for her. Let's get out of here first." Ling Mo gave a helpless sigh and went to pull Shauna up. Of course, before moving her, Ling Mo first tried to restrain her in order to test if she still kept her sanity. A strong shove from her direction gave Ling Mo some headaches, at the same time also made him feel a hint of joy. As long as there is consciousness, it means that she has not yet fully become a zombie. After all, the difference between ordinary humans and zombies, in terms of mental aspect, is obviously very large. Normal people have the ability to think independently and have changing emotions, but zombies are like machines dominated by instinct, completely without independent thought. And although Ling Mo has better spiritual power than other humans, he still could not suppress thoughts of another human. The only way Ling Mo can completely mentally control Shauna would be for her to lose all of her self-consciousness and be driven entirely by zombie instincts. Even though Shauna does not seem to be mentally active right now, she is still wholly aware of her surroundings. If he were to manipulate her in this condition, there is no possibility. For the sake of safety, Ling Mo commanded Ye Lian, and along with himself, where each of them clutched each of Shauna's two arms and picked her up. As a result, even if she went berserk halfway, with Ye Lian and himself striking at the same time, they will be able to prevent her from hurting anyone. "Big brother Ling, where are you taking Shauna?" Liu Hao is now completely out of ideas, asked awkwardly. Ling Mo turned around to look at him and said, "It's far too dangerous here. The smell of blood will attract zombies within the school. If something happened to Shauna again, how are we going to deal with it? First, we need to go somewhere safer." "Yes, you are right." Liu Hao was at first lost in thought, then hurriedly nodded his head. Then he added sincerely, "Big brother Ling, as well as big sister Ye Lian, thank you." This thank you contained a lot of things. Ling Mo smiled but did not say anything. As for Ye Lian, she is originally a mutated zombie, even though you cannot tell from her appearance, but naturally she will not have any reaction to Liu Hao's words. Fortunately, Liu Hao does not mind. Most likely among his impression, Ye Lian is a shy pretty big sister. After passing by one of the dormitory, Liu Hao suddenly asked Ling Mo to wait for a bit, and he ran inside the building, then quickly took Shauna's long knife and rushed out breathlessly. This knife was handmade by Shauna, very good quality. It would be a pity to lose it. She would also feel very bad. For the purposes of traveling under the radar, a blade is a superior companion. Not only are firearms and ammunition extremely rare, even a skilled crack shot would quickly become overwhelmed by the hordes drawn towards the sound of gunfire and the smell of blood. But good sharp weapons are equally scarce. Slashing zombies is not like chopping pork. It is very easy to cause dullness. Cracks are likely to happen if overexerted. A short knife like the one Ling Mo has not only is very light-weighted, sharp-bladed, the quality is also very good. Shauna and Wang's handmade knives belong to the same maker, well-maintained and sharp. That long knife does looks very extraordinary, and you can see that she always gives it serious maintenance. Really cherished this long knife. Liu Yuhao always showed deep feelings for Shauna. It's natural that he went to recover this knife for her, even though who knows how Shauna will become what. You treat Shauna well, very humane. Ling Mo somewhat said it emotionally. How is he not like that to Ye Lian? Even though she has already become a zombie, even a mutated zombie, but he still did not give up hope. But Liu Yuhao is showing a hint of strange look. Big brother Ling, you may have misunderstood. I am not in that kind of relationship with Shauna. Shauna, she does not feel that to me. That's why. In the process of getting along, Ling Mo has already seen that Liu Yuhao has a special feeling for Shauna, but Shauna, on the other hand, is relatively unreceptive towards him. I did not do it because I like Shauna, Liu Yuhao hurriedly explained. I know. Ling Mo nodded understandably. Most likely among Liu Yuhao's feelings to Shauna, there are more gratitude and admiration for the majority. After all, in their old team, they basically relied on the support of Shauna. No matter how much Liu Yuhao worked, he was still merely a young teenager, whose combat ability is not comparable to Shauna's. Ling Mo decided to bring the knife with them, letting Ye Lian hold on to the weapon. Seeing that Liu Yuhao is so attached to this blade, Ling Mo is suddenly somewhat touched. As for Wang Chung, even though he is also tired as a dead pig, he is much smarter than Liu Xen. He is persistent while biting his teeth, not saying a word but followed tightly besides Ling Mo. The survivors soon left the campus and entered a high-end apartment complex on the opposite side. Although these buildings provided more than adequate shelter from the wilderness, Ling Mo was concerned about the zombie population inside the complex. This kind of place is not a suitable place to stay, but now they are with Shauna, have no choice but to hold out for now. Looked around, Ling Mo brought his people and got into an apartment that has multiple easy pathways to escape through the staircases. Because they would only stay for one night, Ling Mo did not bother to scan the whole apartment for zombies. They chose to make camp into one of the suites on the second floor. This residential room has the door opened. The inside is already a mess, but fortunately no zombies have stayed in here. After ensuring the suite was clear of threats, Ling Mo then put Shauna within one of the bedrooms. At this time, Shauna's emotion is still relatively stable, even feels like she is venting a little bit of thinking. If it wasn't for that pair of eyes keeps on getting redder, Ling Mo could have thought that she has completely returned to normal. But just as Ling Mo carried her to the bed, she is frantically struggling again, eyes staring at Ling Mo's chest hard. I want. Still. Ling Mo's heart skipped a beat, but Shauna's hand has already reached over. Ling Mo could only take out another gel that is of lower purity. As soon as the gel appeared before Shauna, she could not wait and snatched it over and down the thing hole. Then her eyes suddenly widened and all of a sudden become limp and slowly closed her eyes. Ling Mo panicked, thinking that he just killed Shauna. He quickly directly put his ear to Shauna's chest. Fortunately, there's still a heartbeat. Then that reaction, could it be like Ye Lian, about to evolve soon? But she has not even become a zombie yet. What is going on? Ling Mo looked at Shauna with a complicated and flabbergasted look, heart filled with doubt. But right now Shauna is unconscious, and nobody knows how long it will take for her to wake up. But there was no way they could wait long enough in the apartment for her to wake up again. For safety's sake, Ling Mo left Ye Lian inside to stay and care for Shauna. This way, even if Shauna suddenly mutated into a zombie, he could immediately restrain her through Ye Lian. On the contrary, Ling Mo knows that he needs to rest instead of guarding Shauna. Ye Lian as a zombie. She is much more stronger and sensitive to her own kind. As soon as Shauna turns into a zombie, Ye Lian will immediately alert him. As soon as he walked out the door, Liu Yuhao jumped straight at him anxiously. Big brother Ling, how is Shauna? Right now is uncertain. Ling Mo was completely honest. Shauna's situation is just way too mysterious. Not even a zombie master like himself could predict Shauna's prognosis. Seeing Liu Yuhao full of concern, Ling Mo was moved. If Shauna mutated, what will you do? Liu Yuhao is suddenly stunned. But on the way to here, he was thinking this problem in his mind. If Shauna started to mutate, should he kill her to put her out of her misery or to leave her to die, like what happened to Liu Xian? But until Ling Mo asked this question, Liu Yuhao painfully discovered that he still does not know what to do. It's all right, don't think about it. Let's talk when she awakes. Ling Mo, seeing that Liu Yuhao, with such concern, whole person is going into a daze, could not help but to sigh secretly, reached out and patted on his shoulder. But as he brushed past him, Ling Mo lightly added another phrase. If it was me, even if the girl I like has turned into a zombie, I will not give up on her. Liu Yuhao is immediately shaken up. Even if Shauna would turn into a zombie, he would still not give up. Even though this was only a lightly spoken phase, Liu Yuhao stood there for a while, letting that idea ferment in his head. In his mind, besides the thought of killing Shauna, there's only the thought of abandoning her, but he never thought about to work hard for her. Indeed, among his knowledge, turning into a zombie is a one-way road, explaining the devastating effects of this outbreak on humanity. But without hope is one thing. He did not have the thought of working hard for her. This to Liu Yuhao was most terrifying. For a time, Liu Yuhao could not help but raise his hand and gave himself 2 hard slaps. But the pain is on the face. His heavy mood did not become more relaxed because of this. At this time, Ling Mo has already walked to the balcony, through the windows, and looking outside. From far away, he could see numerous zombies wandering inside the campus of 3rd High School, most likely attracted by those fresh corpses. There are also some zombies inside the district, but the numbers are small. Even though there are not that many zombies within his vision, but Ling Mo is sure that as soon he or his group makes any unnecessary movements, there will be at least hundreds of zombies flowing out of the school into the apartment. Just within this apartment, it is unknown of how many zombies there are. Maybe there are even mutated zombies. As far as Ling Mo is concerned, this is really living inside the nest of zombies. Touching the gels in his chest, Ling Mo had to suppress his to immediately evolve. Right now, Shauna's situation is unknown, and he and Ye Lian must stay alert at all times, conserve strength. If they faint at this time, who knew what would happen during that time period? But Shauna is showing strong desire for those gels. This fact really puzzled Ling Mo. She obviously still has some of her senses and did not completely become zombie, more like in the process of mutating, but why is she so interested in the gels? It was known that Ling Mo, who as a normal person almost fainted when he only smelled the gel a little, not to mention swallowing this kind of thing into the stomach. Even for Ye Lian, who is a mutated zombie, evolved several times, would not be able to swallow 2 gels in such a short period of time. Even swallowing 1 gel will take a long time to digest. Of course, with the growth of strength, the time in which Ye Lian's need for the next gel is also shortening. But compared to Shauna's case of swallowing 2 gels less than half an hour, still has a big difference. On Shauna's body, just what is happening that people don't know about. Through Ye Lian's perspective, even if he is at the living room, he could observe Shauna's current condition, but just like when he left, Shauna seemed to be in deep sleep without a single movement. This kind of situation is making Ling Mo somewhat depressed. He feels that hours have passed when it has only been 30 minutes. Seeing Ling Mo and Wang Chung all holding their own thoughts, but all quiet, Wang Chung, who is beside them, is like sleeping on a bed of nails. He is also restless, not just for Shauna, but for himself, who does not know the future. Even though he predicted that Liu Xian would eventually become insane and try something like infect Shauna, he still felt like he wanted to slap himself for what he has done to his greatest friend. Ingratiate himself to Ling Mo? It's not difficult to tell from Ling Mo's practical and sometimes callous attitude that it is almost impossible to seek food from his hands. Wang Chung right now knows that he is completely out of options. He knew that with his own lack of fighting ability, it's best to not to anger Ling Mo and stick with the group for the immediate future. Deciding to help out the group somewhat, he started to clean up the suite voluntarily. Although there was no evidence of any humans nor zombies, there definitely has been a struggle, as shown by all the overturned furniture as well as several dry bloodstains. Even though it's not possible to completely clean it up, but he could still try to make the environment better. Wang Cheng's charity did not go unreturned. When the sun started to go down, Ling Mo threw him a bag of cookies and a water bottle. This is much more useful than scavenging for scraps. After Wang Chung took the food, he immediately revealed a hint of joy, but then he looked deeply at Ling Mo. No wonder Ling Mo did not care about the food given by Liu Yuhao. He has his own food supply. Looking at that bag size and fullness, the food in there could at least last for a week. Wang Chung knew that Ling Mo did not just scavenge all those supplies on his own. No wonder that in the end of the world, strength is first, and not just to fight off zombies. Liu Yuhao originally wanted to say that he does not have any appetite, but Ling Mo looked at him with disdain and said, "Tonight we'll be taking turns to stay on guard. If you don't eat and sleep, what if something happened during your shift guarding?" Liu Yuhao suddenly could not argue back. After being silent for a while, he grabbed the food from Ling Mo's hand. "I'm sorry, I will eat." The way he eats is that he chews very detailed, slow speed. This movement is the same as Wang Chung. In fact, before mastering the zombie puppet techniques, Ling Mo also ate like this. Eating slowly is the only way to feel as full as possible through the small amount of food. By the way, is big sister Ye Lian not going to eat? Even though Liu Yuhao's mood is twisting, but did not forget his character as a babysitter. After just taking a few bites, he turned to Ling Mo and asked, "The food that Ye Lian wants to eat, besides the gels, most likely is the meat off your own back." Ling Mo twitched his mouth, stood up, and walked to that bedroom. "I will go check on Shauna's situation and to see if there is a corpse to feed to Ye Lian."